Episode 30 of the Unmastered Podcast featuring Erik Nagy and the Unmastered crew. We're live.
It was the other way around.
I know. Well, I mean, it's got a different person on here, so I didn't want to, It's the Erik Nagy
That's okay.
edition.
Subscribe to Unmastered.
Unmastered is on the rise, up to 1 million soon. Subscribe to Unmastered Podcast. It's the best podcast in the fucking world.
This is the Unmastered Podcast.
That's okay.
But
Guys,
having
we're
fun.
here. We're back.
We're here. We're booming.
Master Podcast, well overdue,
Awesome.
like Erik was saying before. We've been trying to get this down. Erik plays for our Unmastered Hockey team, as you see the jersey back there. ET is like kind of our mascot, but yeah, so we're like, let's do a pod, man. It'd be dope.
Yeah, I think this was a little bit overdue.
Oh, you could
If
say
we're
that.
being honest, I mean, I've known you guys for 3 months now. It's like, let's get a pod. It almost happened a couple weeks ago, but
Yeah.
it wasn't in the cards. Good thing tonight
No,
the dealer
no.
was throwing cards our way and in our favor. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, it's what we're doing here. I mean, look at the hoodie.
Look at that hoodie, eh? Unmastered
beautiful
Puck
little-
Bunny.
But if you guys want a piece of merch like this, go check out Shop Unmastered. This is the sick merch on the table as well. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. Go check us out on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. You can watch us everywhere, listen to us everywhere. But let me just introduce our guest for today. So for today's episode of the Unmastered Podcast, our guest is a content creator. For the past couple years, he's been working on his craft by making and posting videos of funny hockey skits every day. With all of his hard work so far, he's amassed over 200,000 followers across multiple platforms and just recently signed to a social media agency. We're excited to hear more about his journey and his goals to come. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Erik Nagy.
Thank you very much, Sean.
There you have it.
Excited to be here. Wow, that's he really kind of put me on a pedestal there with that intro. Hey, that 200,000 sounds nice. I'll be honest. I'm proud of myself for that.
There you go.
Not too long ago, that wasn't the case though. I'll be honest. Not too long ago, things weren't looking up. But hey, now we're here, right?
There you go.
Hey, bring us through that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll get you guys started from the beginning. I started posting videos end of August 2019, and then I kind of stuck with it, and then really started taking off. I want to say September-ish, October, right around when the hockey season starts. And it's funny actually because I was getting enough of a following to I was still playing in a league. I was playing North York Knights Single A. So don't go search me up on Elite Prospects. You're not going to find me. Elite Prospects, if you do want to get the kid out there though, go for it. I don't know what you'd have me on there for. And it got to a point where kids would recognize me at games other teams would be playing. I'd get called Tiktok boy and all that stuff. And it was weird because oh my god.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I had this by my feet and I said I better not kick it over.
You said it.
And
It's
then
all
he
good.
kicked it.
It's see-through. It won't stay.
Also, I heard Davey Page views, Mr. Dave Portnoy is associated with these. Maybe unassociate yourself with these, Davey. These aren't the greatest. These aren't the greatest. Is there anywhere I can put this where I don't have to knock it over
Hey,
again?
I think there's a table you can
Or
use.
why don't you just finish it, eh? Big boy, get it
Crank
in
it,
ya.
crank it.
Yeah, double fist those things.
Let's start shotgunning on the pod right now.
Yeah, who are we, the Milk Boys? What's going on here? Holy smoke! So yeah, anyways, it got to a point where I would be getting recognized at my games, getting called TikTok boy. I'd be getting chirped for it, but I thought it was pretty cool, and I just want this. I want to say this for all the people out there. If you don't see results the first day after posting, don't let that discourage you, because at the end of the day, these things take time, right? If you don't succeed tomorrow, try and try and try, because you can't fail if you don't stop trying. And I think that's the biggest thing people have issues with. And I actually heard this on an Instagram reel the other day, that there are over, I think, 2 million podcasts on the Apple iTunes store, and 800,000 of those 2 million only have one video.
There you go.
Right. And if you're going to give up on yourself after one video, and you're setting unrealistic expectations
that's
for
crazy.
yourself, because realistically you can't do shit with one video. You need multiple videos to really get yourself out there, be in people's faces, give people a good idea of what it is that you're doing. So anyways, I picked up a little bit of a following. I was sitting at about 20K when this was happening, and I'll never forget the first time I actually got recognized for my work. I had a game actually. I was walking in, I think it was Don Mills Arena, so shout out to my Toronto hockey players in the GTA. I was walking in there, and I walk in the room, and there was a team playing on the ice before us. And it was younger kids. I'm in the room, and then one of my teammates walks in. Shout out Bennett Tomaszewski. He's probably not going to watch this though. Wicked volleyball player too, by the way. He walks in the room and he goes, "Eric, there's these two kids out there with their moms. They want to see you." I'm like,
With their moms?
yeah, that was the best part, right? I was like, what, like me? He was like, yeah, they want to see you. I was like, okay. I was like confused, like, why did they want to see
That's
me?
crazy,
So I go out there, and then the kids, they were looking at me like they just saw Jesus walk on water. Like it was such a surreal feeling. And the moms were like, yeah, like my kids watch you all the time. And I don't want to say this to boast. This is just a really cool experience for me. And it was something that like I never really thought I would end up in that position, just because like to me I was just a dude making TikToks in my room having fun. I didn't realize the impact I was having on people, and honestly to this day I probably still don't. And it was just a surreal feeling, and that kind of motivated me to keep on going. Although I will say, obviously how I started the podcast, that wasn't the case not too long ago. There were times where I was debating quitting, where I was just like, you know what, this isn't for me. It's not my thing. I hate TikTok. I'm done with it. Social media, it's too much. I'm just going to take the traditional route. And I think there's a reason I always had an inclination towards it and to stick with it. And it was something that was always under my nose. And, it's such a rewarding feeling creating something and having an idea in your mind and putting that out into the world and taking that idea and turning it into something that's real and that not only you enjoy, but millions upon millions of other people see that. And it's like, oh my God, I love this. This is so funny. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the chicks who watch my videos actually give them PTSD. but I mean, it's the same idea. We're just a different ball game. It's incredible. And, I definitely don't take it for granted, and I sometimes don't even realize the position I'm in. I'll give you guys an example. I hate to ramble on here, but
this is what we're here for.
When I was at the Crumble event not too long ago, I'm sure you guys saw that on my stories. Yeah. So the lady who had sent me an invite, I forgot her name. I'm sorry, beautiful. You're probably watching this. But she was super sweet, and she came up to me, and she was like surprised that I answered her email to come to the event. And I was just like, well, why are you surprised? And she was just like, oh, well, no, because like your videos and like you're pretty big. And I was just like, man, that's so crazy because I don't see myself as that.
That's how I feel like a lot of creators are. They don't see themselves as like a big figure or public figure or like some sort of person that's unapproachable. But I think from the outside, a lot of people have that perception.
Yeah, like it's exactly.
It's never the case.
No, not at all. Like your favorite creator is just another dude, just another girl, just going through their day-to-day lives. They just happen to make videos and
people watch them.
And people watch them, but at the end of the day, we're regular fucking people.
It's just another industry, right? Like exactly. It's like if you were in the cooking industry or something, right? Like it's a different sort of product that we're doing. We're cooking it up. We're cooking up pods. We're cooking up clips.
There you go.
We're cooking up comedy, but we're giving it to the world in a different avenue. It's not always what everyone thinks. It's the untraditional route. So I think that's what makes it a little bit hard to grasp for people, and like also makes people get starstruck because they're like, wait a second, someone's actually doing this for a living. Like they got what do they have that I don't? Like, you know what I mean? Like we look at each other and like, we don't really feel like we have anything too much different than our peers. But then sometimes, we have a lot of shit that they can't comprehend. Like not everyone has the ability to have an idea in their head and actually put it out into the world, and then not only put it out into the world, but get millions or hundreds of thousands of people to actually watch it, enjoy it, and share it. Like it's crazy.
I will say this. I think to an extent, myself as a creator and other creators, we are very talented individuals because and I don't want to say this to boast myself. I'm just kind of, it's the truth. People who are in positions like myself and people who are in, even much higher positions than me, we're all really good at something. We're all very talented at something. And it's not only that, talent only takes you so far. It's a matter of discipline, working at it every single day, showing up for yourself, even when you don't want to show up.
Yeah.
And I think when you have talent mixed with the work ethic, nothing is going to be stopping you.
How could you be stopped?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
And I think you can, you look at athletes, you look at the best athletes in the world. My favorite example of this is Kobe Bryant with his Mamba mentality. The guy had undeniably the most raw talent we've seen out of a prospect since MJ. Yet his attitude was wake up at 4, go to the gym at 6, work out till 8, go to class, work out at lunch, go to class, have another workout, and then play a game at night. You want to talk about a guy that just wants it more.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant is one of those guys.
Yeah.
But
RIP, man.
I think that's why I've experienced so much success, and that's why I didn't experience the levels of success. Obviously, I've yet to accomplish what I've set out for myself, and in the big picture, I really haven't done that much. So I don't want people to think that I think I'm this big thing, because I know that I'm still in the very beginning of what I do want to accomplish.
Yeah.
But it's I lost my train of thought.
Oh, but you got a vision, though.
What was I saying,
Like
though?
you're talking about hard work, talking about Kobe Bryant, talking about how he actually worked towards something. He didn't just have the talent.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people have the talent, they don't capitalize on it.
And that's exactly what I found I was struggling with, because as I said, when I would go through those periods of just like, I don't want to post, I don't want to do this, it's not my thing anymore. My dad was always a constant reminder. It was like, hey man, like you have this thing under your nose, you're really good at it, why don't you just pick it up again? And I just don't think I was ready for it, because now that I look back on things, I don't think younger me would have been able to take what I've been able to accomplish and the things I've been able to do through social media and handle them in the way I'm handling them now.
Yeah.
Because I see things as I just wasn't ready for it, and I'm a big believer of everything happens for a reason, and there's a time and a place for things to happen.
For sure.
And I just don't think I was ready, and obviously now it's a little bit of a different picture.
So what do you mean by that you weren't ready? Go more into that. Like, what do you mean? You're talking about
I just think
you made content when you were younger, and then you stopped for...
Yeah, I think it was just the type of content and my approach to it, but also everything else that comes with a growing audience. And as you get larger as a creator, is you have to watch the steps you take. You have to make sure you're responsible. You have to make sure you're not, you can still have fun with it, but you got to be you got to stay on that road. You can't step out of that road and say things you shouldn't. And it's also the way you hold yourself and the way you present yourself and just the way you come across. And I don't think I was quite ready for that yet, because there were things that I did when I was younger, when I had that following that was much smaller, that realistically I shouldn't have.
When was that?
I'd say in the early stages, between when I was like 16 and 17.
So I didn't even know it went that far back.
What's that?
I didn't even know that's when you started making content.
Yeah, well, I
said
started
2019.
August 2019, and we're 2023 now. So
Yeah.
It's been 4 years in the
15,
game, dude.
16.
That's pretty long, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and
You learn a lot. As
You do.
The longer you go,
absolutely.
right?
Like if someone were to ask me a question about social media, it's a conversation that it's like a can of beans that you open, and it's not one you wanna close. At least that's how I see it. And it's just like so many people reach out to me, friends that they want to start doing content, and when they ask, I'm more than happy just to like tell them everything that I know, because I'm one of those people who are like, listen, if I'm gonna eat, you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
And it makes me so happy that I'm able to give people a leg up when they want to do something that I have so much passion for. And the fact that I get to, even see some of them take what they had to start and grow it into what they have today because of my help and my guidance, that makes me so happy, and I don't want anything out of it. The only thing I want out of it is to see that other person succeed, and for them to do well, and for them to ultimately, get a chance to live their dreams, because that's realistically what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. And I don't take it for granted at all, because it's truly one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to do for myself. And that's the biggest thing too, is that you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
No one's like my mommy and daddy weren't able to put me in this position.
Right.
And I think that was my biggest thing growing up, was that I was a pretty, like, I'll say this politely, I had my ass wiped when I was a kid. I didn't have to do a lot for myself.
Literally.
I think that's why. No, literally too. I think like
At some point.
like up until the age of like 8, dude. Like I'm no, okay,
Oh,
not,
God.
maybe not 8, but like that's a little ridiculous. But like we're gonna just cut that out. That's we don't need to.
It was getting so like
Are
deep
you
and
sure?
so good, and then it just like.
I mean, we keep it in there. Fuck it.
no,
I don't
it's
care.
gotta have to. No, we never cut shit unless
Good.
it's brutal.
For comedic effect and comedic relief, sure.
Okay, yeah. So continue, man.
Yeah, it
You
was
had your
just
ass wiped.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one way to remind me of
Yes,
the point.
okay, yeah.
This guy. I think that's why I didn't have success with hockey because my mindset wasn't the same when I was younger. I got a burp. Hold on. This high noon, man. Holy shit. Yeah, I just didn't have that mindset and that understanding that, listen, if you want something, you got to sacrifice and you got to
Right.
put in the work and you got to show up. And I just wasn't ready for that until it was too late. And then I think that's why I decided to put so much work into social media, just because like I know that feeling of not being able to accomplish what you wanted and what you really desired, and that feeling of like what could have been. That's the feeling I hate the most. What could have been.
Yeah.
Why is it what could have been? Why isn't it not what it is? Like take what it could have been and turn it into what it is. If I want people to take something out of this, it's that. And all you got to do is you just got to start day one. That's all it is. You need that first domino to fall. Use that momentum. And the first one's going to be the hardest, but everything else is just going to flow like a river flowing downstream.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about pursuing your dreams and your passions. It's just that you don't think, you just do. And subconsciously you show up every day and you put in that work just because you love it so much.
Yeah. And like social media, I feel like is just always overlooked. You know, people think like it's so easy. They're just posting a video, talking into a camera. But, like they don't know what goes into it. And it's like, it's one of the only jobs like this and like athletes where like you put in all this work for years and years and you don't even see like a single check until like you're actually successful. I can go to Tim Hortons and work a job and still get paid. I can go work any other normal job and just get paid.
Yeah.
Like social media is a thing you got to put in the work for like years. You know, some people take off right away and you get brand deals, whatever. But like you're saying, you've been doing it for like 4 years. And like now you just recently got signed.
Well, I mean, you
or
know, if
whatever.
I invested in a set of plastic tits, it probably wouldn't have taken 4 years. But you know, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, dude, literally, man, invest in a set of tits.
No, I know, I got it.
Yeah, you guys know what I mean.
reacting extra.
Yeah, you know, it's
No, but Julien, that's any business too, though. That's just starting anything on your own, like something that you
No,
want to
but
grow.
yeah.
What you just said, not just even social media. It's just any business.
Yeah.
takes
But,
work. Like if you want to be in that 1%, you got to be doing work when no one's looking, because at the end of the day, that's
You said something interesting
what really
about
counts.
like
Yeah.
athletes, you know, about how you were, you know, you kind of were down on yourself not making it farther in hockey, right?
Yeah.
And I always like found that what we're doing is sort of like the second dream. It's like if you didn't make it in what you originally set out to do, which is like every kid's dream,
Yeah.
make a pro sports team,
of course.
then this is a pretty damn close second. Like I would
Absolutely.
say. And it's one of those things that you can do without the physical, you know, gifts
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
I
have to have as an athlete.
Well, I think it's as much as it's different, it's like that comparison. There's that phrase that people say. It's like same, but different. You know, it's like you still have to show up. You still have to put in that work. Whether you're physically talented, athletically talented, creatively talented, if that talent is still there, that's great. But you have to take that talent somewhere. That talent isn't going to crawl for you. It's not going to walk for you. It's not going to work for you. You have to do that for yourself. You know, and I think that's one of the things that people don't realize. Like, even when I was growing up playing hockey, like I knew so many talented hockey players who just didn't put in the work, but were just incredible athletes. And if they would have just put in the work, they probably could have taken it somewhere, man.
Right.
And I guarantee they're probably sitting somewhere on a construction site like, fuck, dude, like I really wish I would have just done something about it, you know?
It's sort of like that whole Goodwill Hunting kind of thing. Where like
Never seen the movie.
you've never seen Goodwill Hunting?
Never.
So like, okay, for people who don't
I haven't
know,
seen.
which
So I
is-
haven't seen, guys. For the record, I haven't
Yeah.
seen Finding Nemo. I haven't seen
What?
Toy Story. I haven't seen The Lion King.
What cars?
I've seen Cars. I was a big Cars guy. I was a huge Cars guy. But I mean, I haven't seen any of the movies that you're supposed to see.
Wow.
Yeah. No, again, not my proudest
All right,
moment.
well,
But
like,
anyways,
you
go
guys
on.
aren't gonna get
Go on with your moment there with what.
Well,
you were,
I was saying it's sort of like, okay, so in Good Will Hunting, the guy Will, like, you know, he has this gift of, you know, being a mathematician and like knowing how to do.
I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he works with his buddies on the construction site, like doing stuff, or I guess like some sort of junkyard or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, the buddies are always like, "Yo, like, why are you like still here?" Like,
You know what's funny? I've actually seen
saw
this
the
exact clip on
you saw-
Instagram.
see,
Reels.
that's everyone these days. They don't watch the movie; they watch the
Yes.
clips. So
Dude, I've seen like half of movies just on Instagram Reels. It's fantastic.
So there you go. So it's that kind of thing, right? So if you have this gift for comedy, or you know, you have this knack for like being relatable, you know, how is that going to shine doing some sort of corporate cubicle job?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that it's not. And I was, even in school, I was never a scholar. I was never a big school kid. To me, I always found it really, really difficult to apply myself for something that realistically I never really thought I was going to use, nor was I particularly interested in it. And that was really difficult for me because throughout all my high school and throughout all my studying, I always felt like I was less than others. I always felt like I wasn't up to par. I always felt like I was the idiot. Like I'm not joking. Like
That's such a common thing, though. For a lot
yeah,
of
and I
creators,
think people let that get in the way of a lot of the things that carry on to their adult lives. Like there would be days when I would show up to high school and like everyone would be stressing like, oh my God, like they're like, we have a test. And I'd walk into class, dude, we have a test. Like, like what are you talking about? We have a test,
times.
you know? And then as soon as I found social media, it just clicked, you know, and that's not something you can do in school. And it's something I just really loved. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to do it. And, I don't plan on looking back anytime soon.
But it's funny, like, you know, people look at you like for maybe not being the most, you know, school, like student, like, you know, keener.
Yeah.
Like you're not that guy who's like getting A's
Yeah.
and B's or whatever.
Never was.
They think that like that applies to your whole life.
Not at
and there's
all.
a lot of people who just were not made for the school system.
Yeah.
And they just didn't apply themselves in other things, and they have this kind of like notion that they're like stupid. But like put them in the right situation and they'll excel.
Exactly. And I think Elon Musk said this about schools. I think he's like homeschooling his kids, or like wants to open up a school where it tailors to the kids' needs instead of just having a very cookie cutter approach to the education system, because I think that's what it is. It's very cookie cutter. It's very, okay, well, we're going to put, and I saw this animation actually. It was like a bunch of kids who are super creative and have all these.
Another Instagram reel, eh?
Not an Instagram post actually. This was like
okay.
one of those like 3 a.m. motivation ones. You know those ones? Yeah. And it was like a bunch of kids who were
You're
just like
ruining his point.
beaming and like excited and like have all these crazy ideas of what they want to do, and then they just get pushed through the door, and all of them walk through that door dressed all in suits, looking like the same person, all miserable. And I think that's because a lot of people are too scared to take that risk, is that they want the security of a corporate job, of a 9 to 5. Don't check your phone during a podcast. It's disrespectful.
That's very Andrew Schultz.
That's
Timer.
yeah.
It's
Let's
very
get that
Steiny,
figured
That's
out
very
here.
Steiny.
I got the timer.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
are you,
what do
Stein?
Oh.
Bro, my Apple
that's
Watch
even
is
worse.
listening.
Apple Watch.
Dude, okay, hold on. Look at what my Apple Watch picked up.
Oh, it picked up the whole
No.
thing.
It says kids were just like BB gun, like he excited and like have all these BB gun. When did I say BB
What?
gun?
XX Tentacion?
Siri,
Yeah, that's
figure
what I
it
was
out. But I mean,
They be listening on here.
dude, they definitely are, dude. They for sure are. Like it's fucked. Like I'll be talking about cameras, and then all I see on my Instagram feed is like ads for cameras. You know, like
And
I
Goodwill
mean,
Hunting.
it's probably going to be Goodwill Hunting after this podcast.
You're going to get the whole fucking movie. in
yeah,
parts.
exactly. I'm going to get it in like 82 different parts.
But back to what you were saying. What were you saying?
Yeah,
I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but
that's a good question. What was I saying?
The system.
you know, the
We were talking
system.
about the system.
Everyone's got this creativity. Then
Yeah,
they put you through
the
this
risk.
thing, and then everyone's
Yeah.
losing
Nobody wants
it.
to take
Nobody
the
wants
Yeah,
to take
the risk.
risk.
And I have a lot of
and reward, you know?
friends. It is risk and reward, and a lot of people don't want to take that risk. Little did they know the reward that's on the other side. And I have a lot of friends who, I wouldn't say they don't see eye to eye with me. They most definitely do, because they love what I do, and obviously they're friends. They want to support it. But I see a lot of my friends who are like super excited about getting their degrees, and their degrees lead to like a cubicle 9 to 5 job. You know, and I just like, as like, obviously they're friends. So I'm like, hey man, like that's fucking awesome. Like good for you. You're doing your thing that makes you happy. But and this might be a little selfish of me, but I just have a really hard time resonating with that and kind of understanding why you would want to put in all that work just to work a 9 to 5 and talk shit about your coworkers at the bar afterwards. You know, like to me, that's just not my thing. Like I feel like
so limited.
Like, why don't you just like go out and experience what is life? Grab a camera, grab a bunch of friends, have fun, do what you really love to do. And I think by doing what you really love to do, you're going to accomplish things and you're going to end up putting yourself in situations that you never would have thought of prior to it happening. Like there are so many times throughout this journey where whether it be me invited to an event or me reaching out or a creator reaching out to me that I once watched, like, hey man, I love your stuff, let's do some stuff together. A little bit of a teaser for what's coming up. Not check out Not Erik Nagy on TikTok and Instagram for that. I'm super excited about that. But it's just it's still so crazy to me that I've put myself in a position where I'm getting invited to these things, and these creators who I thought were the funniest people not too long ago are reaching out because they're saying like, hey man, I like your stuff, let's do some work together. And I think that's the craziest thing to me that I don't think I'll ever be able to wrap my head around.
Yeah, but you put yourself in that position. Like you grinded, you did the work,
but
and
it's
you have the ideas and people recognize it.
Yeah,
right?
but
sick.
again, it's still hard for me to grasp that. Like at the crumble cookie thing, like to me it was like, what do you mean like you were surprised I answered the email? Like of course I'm gonna answer the email.
They think that you're like the big shot,
you know. No.
Yeah,
like if we're being real, my email inbox is dry as fuck. So like if there's any brands out there, feel free to reach out. Let's get some brand deals going. I gotta put gas in the car and I gotta pay for the Rogers bill, so let's get that going. But I think one of those things is just connecting with you guys, you know. I think it's a connect I wanted to make, and I think it's been something that, as much as you guys have helped me, I would like to think that I've helped you guys doing
it's been good, man.
what it is you guys want to do. I think it's like, you know, it takes two people to tango.
It's been sick. You know, like the fact that like we found someone who's also like-minded and has a passion to want to level up in the content game, want to take his content to the next level. And then like the fact that you just like jumped right in to like our hockey series and just like kind of took it by the horns, like has been so sick. Cause like I felt like we were kind of doing that, and like I never could have imagined someone like actually be like so willing to just jump in and like fucking do it, man. And like that just shows that you got it, like you want it.
Thank you, man.
Not a lot of people are gonna do that because we didn't even know each other, dude. I remember the literal first skate we had. This dude's fucking doing 20 interviews. I'm like, what the
You just grabbed him and was
fuck?
like, hey, you want to do them? Let's
Yeah,
go.
like this
And I
guy's
was like,
another
"Oh."
animal. Like I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I knew
like,
of your
it's
videos and stuff
crazy,
like that,
man.
but like not fully, like to the point where like I knew you like off like
Yeah,
off
yeah,
her or
yeah,
whatever.
off the
But then
rip.
you reached out and you were like, yo, I want to be a part of it. And actually, fun enough, like 2 days before you reached out, I showed Drug a video you did with Aiden Dale. And I was like, yo, this is
Which
that
video
fun.
was it?
It was the one where like girls when a guy tells them they're play a goalie and like they kind of go away from you. He's like, yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
the
right
goalie.
on.
And
The
I
one
showed-
we did outside the bar.
Yeah,
right?
and I was like, I remember
I
this
was like, I
guy's
don't
like,
want to watch
yeah.
this. Get this out of
And then like 2 days later, he's like, yo, I want to be on the team. But no, yeah.
I'm like,
still-
don't worry, I'll meet him there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's you know, I've been in the social media space, and I'll be honest, like making the same videos over and over again, like I'll be honest, it gets boring, it gets stale, you know. And I find sometimes I do have that where I'm just like, fuck, like this is like boring, like I got to change it up. And I always loved being in a team environment, and I think that was an environment I always thrived in. That's why as soon as I heard that that you guys have this 3-on-3 summer league, I was like, and you guys do content, I was like, dude, that's like perfect, because because I found out about you guys right when like my come up was starting, right when I was like really starting to take this shit seriously. And I was just like, this is one of those things, like I'm a big believer in like signs and like seeing things that like pay attention to like things that are, I got a burp coming, Jesus, it's high noon, man.
Enough of the burping.
You guys are gonna have to pay to hear that burp.
So you're a big believer in signs. Want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I would say signs as far as like, I'm a big angels number guy. So like if I look at my clock and I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's like I'm kind of in like a slump, I'll like kind of use that as like motivation. But also just like Rick Rubin said this, paying attention to your surroundings, you know, like the other day I was having an okay day, and then in the span of like a few hours I had 2 really important text messages that came through, and that kind of reminded me like, hey, like listen, things might not be how you want them to be going right now, but you're still on the right track. Some days you're going to make more progress than others, and I think that's just the reality of chasing your dreams and pursuing your passions, is that not every day is going to be the best day at the office, but there's going to be reminders, and you're going to have little things like when you go bowling and you have like the bumpers, you're going to have bumpers that keep you in check, just to like remind you like, hey, you're doing the right things, you know?
Not every day you're going to get a strike.
There you go.
Goddamn right you're not. Some days you're going to throw the ball right in the gutter.
Gutter
You're still moving forward on the scorecard though.
There you have it.
Is that all you have to add? Is that all you have to add?
Yeah.
There you have it.
There you have
There
it.
you have it.
There you have it.
Okay.
This guy's acting like we're finishing the podcast.
There you have it.
There you have it, guys.
There you
So
have it.
we'll see you next time. No, imagine. So, but what about but you're not really. And even when you get in the gutter, though, you're not going up on the scoreboard, though. So, just saying.
Okay, well,
You're just
This
staying.
is a
You're
shit.
staying in the
okay,
same spot.
Okay, I'll
You're
break that
staying
down.
in the same spot.
No, but
it
like
doesn't mean you
yeah,
went
but
backwards.
enough of the
forward.
analogies.
Listen, you have like a gutter ball, but like you still move into the
I
next
feel you.
column.
I feel
you
you.
know, like
Okay.
like yeah, you might strike out, but you're gonna have another at bat.
Now it's a baseball analogy.
There we go.
I'm double dipping. double dipping.
Yeah, come on, you
We're
love the
bowling.
analogies.
We're playing
I
baseball.
don't do
You
analogies.
do analogies every episode.
Nah,
Don't
never
lie.
that.
What's a go-to?
Your
Nick
number one clip is an
Petronaro
analogy. Your number one
analogy?
viral clip is an analogy.
You know, there's crabs and there's ants.
That's his number one clip.
Yeah.
You know,
crabs
some
in a
people are
barrel.
crabs and they pull you down. Some people are ants. They build you up. Take your pick.
Yeah.
So you're an ant?
Pick your pick of the litter.
Are you an
Take
ant?
your pick of the litter. I like to think I'm an ant guy. Big ant guy.
You're an ant guy?
Big ant guy. I like to
What is that saying? Like you
I like
surround
to build.
the 4 people you surround yourself with is how you will be in life. Like they kind of
AKA
mirror
there's
you.
losers and there's not losers.
So that's why if us 4 just stick together, you're bound to be
Yeah,
successful.
it's like
no?
if you surround yourself with 3 winners, you're going to be the 4th one. You surround yourself with 3 losers, you're going to be the 4th one.
See, you know, what I like about our relationship with everyone here is that we're not, you know, our thing in common is not partying and drinking booze. Like that's like, okay, although I have a fucking high noon in my hand right now, it's not the main reason I'm here right now.
No.
You know what I mean? Like we're here to do something, we're here to make something, and that's what is electric for me. Like I love fucking shit getting made.
I see I see the bevies as just like a conversation aid.
Yeah, sure,
know,
it helps,
it's-
but
Yeah, it's helping us, you know, it's just
I don't know. But you know what I'm trying to say though? Like
I
there's
do,
friend
I do,
groups
I
where
do, I do,
literally
I
the
do.
one thing you have
you
in
just get
common
together and you get fucked up.
is getting fucked up, is going
Yeah.
to the club, is trying to get girls, and like that's
Yeah.
literally the only thing
do.
Yeah.
you actually have in common.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, who the fuck am I with right now?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not. That's not all my friends, but there's some times where you kind of realize, like, wait a second, what do we like? Do we ever do anything else? And you kind of have to make that a priority,
Yeah,
and like actually
for
do
sure.
shit like a hockey team and like you know all those other kinds of things. Like because there's so much more to life than just going out and drinking. It's like those like TikTok slideshows where it's like you know the guy's like face is like, oh, like let's go
I
drinking,
know. I
and the
know.
guy's like fuck,
Yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
like let's go to the movies, let's go do this, let's go golfing, you know, let's go do all these other things.
golfing.
It's like DJ Khaled is the way we should be living, is what I'm trying to say.
And
Yes.
it's funny you say that because I think well, I mean, I think a lot of people would want to live like DJ Khaled. That guy,
He's the best.
That guy's comfy in more ways than one, you know. But I think
This man.
hey, DJ Khaled, I know you're not watching, but I love you, buddy. All right, we the best. God did, you know. But I think that it's funny you say that because my first Calgary trip, I got some wicked stories from that trip, by the way. That's how hugs only. If you know, you know. That's an inside joke. I don't expect
Okay,
you guys to
okay.
know
Okay.
that. That's between
You and that one
Yeah, we don't
person.
know.
no,
watching.
that's between me, Brady Huber, Aiden Dale, Liam Sweeney, and
All
the
right.
Send SZN crew.
right.
Big hugs only.
Okay.
Okay.
But I think that was one of my biggest things when I was on that first Calgary trip was like I was surrounding myself with people who at the time, I shouldn't say at the time, who relatively had more social media success than I did. Now, I'm not saying I have more success now. I think we're all level on the same playing field nowadays. But I think that trip was so important for me. One, because I got to be around people who, in my eyes, were kind of doing it better. And I got to just kind of sit back and study and see how they approach things. And then I kind of took that and ran with it. I was just like, okay, I'm going to see how these guys do it. And then I'm just going to apply it to myself. And I think that was the most important thing. But I wouldn't have gotten that if I wouldn't have surrounded myself with those people.
Yes.
Like, yes, did we I got some wicked stories from this trip,
Yeah,
by the way, which I do have to share. We are going to get to that.
I'm glad we're going to get to that.
But I think that was, the biggest thing was surrounding myself with those people and just understanding, like, hey, you might not be where you want to be now. And I put a chip on my shoulder. I was like, listen, next time I come out to Calgary, I want to sit at a table with these guys and I want to have a bigger slice of the pie. Because I kind of felt like I was the one guy that was just kind of being dragged along. Like, oh yeah, Erik is here, whatever. And I didn't have the social media following. I didn't have the reach, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just kind of like, fuck this. You know, I was just like, I'm going to make things happen. And I'm so proud of myself that I did. But listen, enough of the inspirational stuff. We've been rambling on about that for about half hour. I think we started having some fun on this podcast. I think we started sharing some stories. And I think the first one I have to start with is when we were in Edmonton, and this was just a wicked night. I will say, going out with Brady Huber and the Send SZN crew, they showed me to a great time. Also, big shout out to the city of Edmonton and Calgary for just the love and hospitality. It was second to none.
Did you meet the mayor?
I did not. No.
Maybe he's watching.
Maybe
He didn't give you the key, eh?
He didn't, unfortunately. I'd much rather the key to Toronto, but I think Champagne Poppy has it right now, so it might take a little.
They might make an extra for you.
Yeah, let's hope so. You know,
It's getting cut right now. It takes a while.
let's rub Olivia Chow the right way, maybe. Yeah,
I don't know, but
could have worded that a little bit better, but
not the wording on that.
what are you gonna do? So, anyways, story time. We were in Edmonton, and the game plan was we're gonna go to the Moss Pit, which was watching the Edmonton. So, like, you know how they have in Toronto, like when they stand outside of the
Yes,
arena
Maple Leaf
in the
Square,
Maple
yeah.
Leaf Square in the playoffs. Yeah, exactly. So,
The oil bin or something.
it was called the Moss Pit because I had a player. I forgot his first name, but his last name was Moss. So we get there, we're waiting in line for a while, and then we're just, you know what, screw this. And we found like a separate like backdoor entrance. We got in, and the night goes on, and we go to the bar because we want to get these drinks. Crazy long lineup, and I see there's this like older lady who's in line, right?
Okay.
And she's right in front of me, and I was just like, I stood next to her, and I was making a joke. I was like, oh, no way they're IDing you. They didn't ID her, but I was just like, oh, well, you know, we're gonna make her feel, we're gonna make her feel young.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, oh, I can't believe they're not IDing you. You know, I was like, oh, stop it. You know how they get. And then I was talking to her, and then she was like, oh, you know, like, oh, what's your name? Whenever I told her what I do, I was like, I do social media. And then she was like, oh, my daughter wants to get into social media.
OnlyFans.
And then, no, not OnlyFans. Not OnlyFans. No, that's not my type of content. Imagine though. My daughter.
keep going. I don't know why.
No, dude, imagine a mom was like, my kid wants to do OnlyFans.
You didn't even get the
Okay, come
context
on, where's
of
the rest
that.
of the
How
story?
fucked would that be?
I don't know. I just like
Anyways,
just said it.
anyways, so then the mom shows me a picture of her daughter. I'm like, your daughter's absolutely beautiful.
She set you up with her.
Yeah, and like the mom took down my phone number and everything. Like, I'm gonna make sure. She's like, I'm gonna make sure that my daughter gets in touch with you. Hold on, the story gets better.
Okay.
So I get my drinks, whatever, and then me and my buddy, shout out Dylan Smith, we're just hanging out, and then we're like, Dylan, I gotta go take a piss, and like Dylan has to go take one too. So then we go to the porta potties, and we're waiting in line, and like this was crazy. Like, so I went with Dale, Huber. It was the three of us, and then a group of Huber's hockey buddies, and literally like the three of us couldn't walk like 20 feet without being recognized in that place. It was.
But you had to piss.
It was ridiculous. So we had to piss, and this is where me getting recognized actually worked in my favor. So we were standing behind this guy and these two chicks, and the guy knew me. He recognized me from my videos, and he was like, "Oh my God, you're the guy!" And like, he took pictures with me and stuff. And then he was with this girl with black hair, and then this other girl had blonde hair. And obviously, since I'm a hockey player, I was liking the blonde one a little bit more than the black haired one. You know what I mean? So I was kind of giving her attention. We were all waiting in line for the porta potty. And I was just kind of, you know, having fun. I was like I was trying to get some like interviews with her. Didn't end up happening. Anyways. So as we're getting closer to the porta potty, I go in there. Dylan starts making out with the other chick. And then Dylan goes in there, and then I start making out with the other chick, with
No
the blonde
way.
one. And then we
But
find
did you
out.
piss yet?
Yeah.
So Dylan, so when I was in there
You went in
pissing,
there.
so when I was in there pissing, Dylan was out with the other one, and then when I went out of there, Dylan went in. So we did like a little tag team,
Right.
and I don't know why the girl either kissed me. I didn't wash my hands or anything.
Oh.
Anyways, the
unhygienic.
story gets better.
Okay.
I get the girl Snapchat after. I give her a little kiss goodbye.
It's the old
I go,
lady's daughter.
Wait, man.
That's
let's
one
tell
way
the
to, yeah.
story.
So that's
Okay,
what,
I'm
so,
sorry,
so
I'm
that's
sorry.
what, so that's what ended up
You
happening.
know, obviously that is it, but you don't say it.
I was thinking that in my head too.
So then that's exactly what happened. Was I was texting the girl as the night went on because we were supposed to go, we went to this club after.
Okay.
Crazy experience, by the way, that was too. And then it turns out that the mom who I met before, I was macking her daughter in the porta
kinda
potty.
insane.
And then the mom wanted you.
Insane. No.
She's like, I had the old bull.
The
and now I
mom,
want the young
the
calf.
mom wanted to set me up with the daughter.
But you
he
already
set
beat her
himself
to
up.
it. Wait,
Yeah,
but
I
then
guess
didn't she
so.
show you the girl? So you knew her.
Yeah, okay, but dude,
didn't
I was
realize
drunk
it.
though,
You didn't
dude.
realize
Like,
it.
I
Oh,
didn't
but you didn't
Like,
realize
she showed
it.
me a picture. Oh, this is my daughter. I was like, oh, she's beautiful. Not thinking I would see her at the fucking event.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and then I
what
was
the
and like,
hell
and
are
like,
the odds?
And like when I saw her, I was just like, oh, like she's really pretty. Like I thought I'd, riz her up a little bit, and then
Say, hey, Missy. Oh, that's Aiden Dale.
That's Aiden Dale. That's,
Okay.
that's on my avenue. Shout out Aiden Dale though. And
a great
then we got so hammered at the club that night though, dude. It was unbelievable. Like we had to shout out Isaiah, great guy. He's Huber's manager. Was buying the boys drinks, took care of us, and the guy just showed us to a good time. And then after the party, Dale, Huber, and I, we went back to his place and we just kind of chilled out, smoked a joint, and talked. Literally, we got home at like I think 3 or 4. We sat outside talking till 7 a.m. and then we had flights at I think 10ish. And then we just kind of. We didn't even sleep. We just picked up and then we went home. That was the last night of the first.
But did you guys party with the old
Calgary
lady
trip.
though?
No, we didn't. It was funny though because while we were in the club, the girl was texting like, "Oh, like come to the hotel room."
Me and my mom are here.
Whatever. I was like, "Oh, like well, who's in the room?" She's like, "Oh, my mom." I was like, oh,
You're like, I know her.
I was like, I mean, we might have to wait in the washroom.
That would
if your
actually be kind
mom's
of
there."
hilarious, though.
I know.
That
I mean,
would've
I
been-
wanted it to happen. And I was
She's
just like,
like,
well, why don't
"Oh
you
my
come to the club?
I
And
met your daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a movie. You should make that into a movie.
Well, I mean, I got a guy right there.
Right
to
into
record
it.
it,
Whoa.
so-
Put it in there.
That's like what
Yeah.
movie is that like? Or like
Like
they,
one of the
they realize,
Roxbury or
oh my,
something.
oh, it's like 22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
Where he's
Yeah.
like realizes that it was his daughter, Ice Cube's daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But kind
Except
of like-
the lady was a
yeah.
lot less intimidating.
And she was like
than Ice
encouraging
Cube.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she was all for it. She was trying to, make things happen. She was like the GM pulling the strings, making the draft picks, signing the free agents,
Yep.
setting up the appointments.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I met this guy Eric. She's like texting as you're making out, and then it's
So
like,
did
oh,
I.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
let's do this.
So that that was one of the stories, and that's got to be one of my favorite stories.
Shout out to Granny Smith.
of all time. She wasn't that old. She was looking pretty.
I
good for
envisioned her
age.
like really old and wrinkly
Why?
when you said her.
No,
The first
no,
Okay.
no.
No,
No.
she was middle aged.
I mean, there's a reason I was.
Depends
flirting
on
her up,
how-
Right? So that's like I mean,
Oh, okay.
MILF level.
but,
What else, man? What else? There was other stories you said. You
Other
got more. Give us
stories.
another.
Give us another one.
I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, there was so many. I was just hammered for a lot of it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Of course, of course.
Man, how about let me go through.
Give
my,
us something like it doesn't even
What
have
about
to
you
be
guys?
there.
Let me
You
go
got
through
any?
my
The Maddy?
Snapchat memories and see what
Don't look
comes
at
up
while he
here.
looks for another story.
Yeah.
What's your
What happened that
craziest
night? The Maddy?
bar story? Well, what about the other night at the Maddy?
We don't have craziest bar story. Other night, I don't know. It was fucking hot because they have no AC.
Okay,
in
yeah,
it.
no, but what's your
Holy
craziest bar,
shit.
like, or craziest party story, Gianluca?
Damn, I don't have a crazy one.
You don't really send like that.
I don't really send like that where it's gonna get crazy, bro.
Okay, I got another
Loser.
one. I got another one.
Go for it.
So this was we were with Send SZN and they were hosting an event at a club in Calgary. The event place was it Calgary or Edmonton? I think it was Calgary. It was at Back Alley. It was this place called Back Alley. And so for the pregame, you know where we go? Shout out Poof Shots, shout out Jesse and Brooke. They have a penthouse in Calgary. So what we did was
I saw the vid.
Yeah, it was a great video. How about the chicks that were in it too? Eh? Shout out.
Camera,
Shout out.
please show Julien right now.
Yeah, this guy's on it. Shout out Alex. Shout out Jessica. Shout out Avery. Hugs only, and your friend who was there, who wasn't exactly the nicest to me. Wasn't a fan of that. But yeah, so we go to the penthouse. Like we're getting drinks, whatever. They had a stripper pole in the
That's
apartment,
pretty good. That's pretty good.
which kind of set the tone for like what we were getting ourselves
There you
into.
go.
And they were
This is his kind of shit.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say this guy.
There's a reason he's on this podcast.
He's a
For
freak
moments like
monster
this.
over there. Yeah, this is what he lives
There's a
for.
reason.
Shirt explains it all.
Greasy hound you are. Exactly.
Okay, continue.
Exactly. And so we get to the penthouse, we're hanging out, we're having drinks, and they were launching these Jello shots. We tried these Jello shots; they were so good. And like we were having vodka, whiskey, Jello shots, just everything. And we were pre-gaming pretty hard. Then we get to the club. And meanwhile, I'm recording this whole thing, and I don't know how I was recording this whole thing. Like I was literally, I hit record, and I'm just kind of like, oh, we'll point it here, we'll point it there, and
You're
we'll see what it
recording the
looks like in
video
the morning
for their
I did an
channel.
edit. I did an edit.
Oh, I
for
see,
my
I
own
see.
stuff. For my own
Okay,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, I was really proud of it actually.
So you're hammered.
And I'm hammered. We're getting drinks, and we're at the club. We got free drink tickets. Rum and cokes are just going down like water. And it was such a cool feeling that like I get to go on stage and just like roam. Like it felt like it was my event, even though I got invited to it. Like totally was mine. It was Send SZN's event, but like I was part of Send SZN.
Yeah.
So
And you were sending.
the event's going on, and there was this one guy who kept on following the boys around, and he managed to find us our second time in Calgary too, which made me think this guy's a little bit of a fucking stalker.
He's stalking.
It's kind of weird, not gonna lie. So, but he bought the boys drinks, so he bought me a drink. I was like, oh, it's probably just some random dude who knows us for our content. Comes and finds me a little bit later as the night goes on. He's like, dude, we gotta do a shoey.
A shoey?
Oh, God.
I'm like, what do you mean?
oh,
I'm like, what do you mean a
God.
shoey? Like, I've been wearing these same New Balances flying all over the country. Like, they're disgusting.
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, you gotta do a shoey. And I was like, hammered to the point. I was like, you motherfucker, we're gonna do a shoey. You know, so we did a shoey. I got it on film. Absolutely disgusting. Never want to do it again. Made for a great video though. So that's not the story though. The night goes on. This is just things that happened
part
during
of
the
it,
night.
yeah.
I got like, it was to the point where like I went to go take a piss. Like my ears were ringing because Max, the DJ, has a saying: if you're not redlining, you're not headlining.
Oh.
So he likes to put those speakers through the ringer. And as the night goes on, Aiden Dale, he's having fun, but he's having a little bit of a hard time keeping up with the boys. And Dale, I don't want to throw you under the bus here, but I remember I just went up to the stage and I saw Aiden Dale. He was like this on the table. I'm like, Dale, what's going on? I was like, Next, I don't feel good, buddy. I don't feel good. I'm like, you want me to get you some water? He was like, yeah, I need some water. So I went to go get him some water. When I get back, dude, puke all over the chairs, the table. Poor guy was just so tapped out. And then I saw it. I was like, fuck, dude, are you okay? He's like, no, man, I gotta go home. So I was like, all right, Dale, you know what? We're gonna call you an Uber. And the fucking first Uber driver, first of all, Dale, while waiting for the Uber, he was leaned. He was outside of the bar on those like metal railings, just like this. Dude.
Oh, down in the dumps.
He didn't move from this position for probably 15 minutes until the Uber came. And when the first Uber came, it was some Indian guy who was like, my friend, I can't put in your friend in Uber. I bought new car and $20,000 came for Rev. I can't put in friend in. And I was like, okay, fine, just fucking go. And then like I wasn't gonna put up with his
Just
bullshit.
fucking go.
He's like, man, if you throw up in car, you have to pay $200 fine, and you have to do it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
it
was
does
like,
happen. Yeah.
just fucking leave, man.
Definitely does.
Go pick up another guy who's got almost 1 million on TikTok. And
He's got a mill, okay, guy?
Hey, he can barf wherever he wants.
Exactly. This guy's got the red carpet rolled out for him everywhere. I love him though. Shout out Dale. So then I order him another Uber, which you got to wait another 10 minutes for.
He barfs in that one.
The guy
too.
gets in. No, so I finally convinced the Uber driver, like, hey, just get my fucking guy home. Like he needs it bad right now.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking get him in there.
He gets in there.
He gets in there. So and then I run inside because to get into our hotel room, you need like a code. So I go, I'm like, Hubert, what's the code? And Hubert gives me the code. And I think I forgot like the last digit of the code. So I just made up some number. And I was like, okay, Dale, I texted you the code. So this guy gets to the hotel and he didn't call me, he didn't text, no nothing. But when we got to the hotel, he was
No way.
so he got lucky because Avery, one of the girls we were with, went back to the hotel and she knew the real code. But Dale was waiting outside of the hotel for probably half hour until Avery came and got him through the front doors because I sent him the wrong code, and I felt so bad. And dude, the security guard there, who was also Indian, a lot of Indians in Calgary at 2 a.m. apparently, working the night shift. The security guard wouldn't let him in. As soon as Avery showed up, she's very pretty, Avery. As soon as she shows up, oh, come in, please.
Yeah,
what hotel are you in? We can help you. Where do you have to go?
Yeah,
and poor
You
Aiden
do
was
a pretty good
outside.
accent.
Like, the guy just threw up. He was a mess. We wake up the next morning. We get told of the story. We were all hungover. I was a mess, dude. I was throwing up left, right, and center. The boys were fine. They were having a laugh at me, though. And then after that, we had to rally to Edmonton, or were we in Edmonton going to? The point is, we had to rally and we had to go to another city because we had an event that next night.
Crazy.
It's a story, man.
That's the Send life, man. What about the Uber throwing up, huh?
Yeah,
We know
so-
a buddy. We're
yeah,
not going to
we-
out him.
Okay, so there's a buddy who may or may not be in a lot of our new hockey videos.
But you didn't even need to say that.
Yeah, okay,
Why
You're
just
just
say we
the
have
king
a
of
buddy?
ruining. You love
Just say we
spoiling
have a
stories
buddy.
prematurely, eh? Holy shit!
I didn't spoil nothing.
No, but
okay,
don't say who it is.
No, I just gonna say we know him. You guys might know.
You guys might know.
but we're not gonna say who. Could be anyone.
Anyways, he threw up on the
Well,
dashboard.
that's a horrible way to say it.
But like, we got lucky. We got
It's a
lucky.
horrible storyteller.
We got lucky.
We got
because
lucky.
we didn't have we had an Uber driver that didn't even know about the $200 fine.
Oh,
Really?
This guy threw up on the dashboard, and we went to his house and he cleaned it all up.
Like a
and the guy
fucking-
was just like,
like a
"Okay, can I keep the
fucking unit, he
Windex?"
cleaned
And
it
that
up.
was it.
He cleaned it up. I couldn't believe how well he cleaned it up.
So his
like, he was
two-
like a cleaner.
His $200 fee was the Windex.
Yeah,
That's
no, the
what he
guy
got
was
out
like,
of it.
you keep the Windex. Like
Yeah,
he
he
wanted
never
to
said
keep the
anything about the
Windex,
fine.
and then I was like, okay, cool.
And this was a Dodge Charger.
Did
yeah,
he want to
dude.
keep?
Yeah, taking we. Okay, see,
Holy
that's
shit.
why you don't tell a good story.
No, but I didn't want to tell like a story because it's not a story.
Did the guy want to keep the
Okay.
that's just as much of a story. as
No,
what
it's
he
not.
just said.
No, it's not. If
But
you want
also,
to take it longer,
how-
we can make it longer, but it's not a story.
you guys were just sitting in
It's
like
just-
he's
I
just
just wanted
sitting
to
in his
make
own
the
throat.
point.
I saw the
Okay,
video.
listen. So what happened is
I do have to ask.
we got picked up in the Dodge Charger,
Yeah.
man.
yeah, Dodge Charger.
And we're like, damn, it's fucking so nice. And then our buddy, we're not gonna name him, he's like, pull over. Pull over.
I know exactly who it is.
And
from
we're,
that
yeah,
voice.
and we're like, dude, we're not pulling over. We're in the middle of a highway right now.
In the
And-
left lane.
In the left
In the
lane,
left
too.
lane.
He's like, come on, pull over. All of a sudden,
Oh, the mics are bad, man.
all over the interior.
and he's just sitting in it too. The
Oh
smell.
my God. And it started reeking like wings that we just had.
Windows had to roll down.
No, that's
no,
not the
no,
person.
no.
Doesn't matter. We're not gonna out
Okay,
them.
okay.
Anyways, disgusting, and we felt so bad, and we just couldn't stop laughing.
You can't
He's
even
like,
imagine, dude. It was like,
It's putrid.
what was it? He was like, yeah, pull over. Oh, can
He's
you,
like,
can you
pull
pull
over.
Can you pull over? And the guy's like,
I don't know why he didn't go out the window.
oh my God, what about the time? So this is the
Hold on.
second time this
I do
happened?
have to ask.
Go ahead.
Did the Uber driver also want to keep the like throw up paper? Like if he kept
Yeah,
the
he kept the
Windex,
paper towel,
he
too.
wanted
Yeah,
to
he
sign
kept it.
and
He kept
everything?
all that shit. Yeah.
What a
Yeah, and then he so what happens is
better have
he
given
gets
that
home.
fucker 5
He's
stars.
got barf all over him, right? Which is like, oh man, you feel bad for the
Oh,
guy.
yeah, I know.
He goes sprays himself down with a hose. He's soaked. Then
yeah.
we're also really drunk too, so we're
Yeah,
like, what
yeah.
do we do here? Like we're not really like in the right mind to like help that much. He goes and somehow finds every cleaning supply he would need. Like he finds like a Windex, he finds
he's
like
the
the
most
towels, he
fucked.
finds all this shit, and he's like soaked and full of barf and piss and shit. I don't even know, not piss, but like regardless, he goes and he cleans it all like immaculately.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I was like, wow, dude, that was really nice of you. And
Some
we
guys just have
saw him.
it, some guys don't.
He's
you
like,
know?
give him fucking money. And I'm like, I didn't give him.
Are you guys like to keep your spaces pretty clean? You guys like, I wouldn't say OCD freaks, but you guys like to have like a like a neat
Definitely
area.
not true.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I know
no.
myself, like in my room, like when I like to create and like when I'm in there, I want it to be clean because I feel
Yeah,
like
of
I
course.
can't create in a messy
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah, no, maybe creating space. Yeah, like that office we try to clean. My bedroom, no, it's just a
Your room
mess,
is just
but-
a shit show.
Yeah.
eh?
They're
Just
not like the Jordan
World
Peterson.
War
You gotta
II
clean
going
your
in
room.
there? Really? Eh?
You know Jordan Peterson, that whole thing.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
clean your room.
Yeah.
That's like a big thing. They
Yeah,
say
man.
clean your room.
Well, I think
then
I
you're gonna have
agree
a
with
clean,
that.
Clean
mind.
mind.
Yeah.
That's it, baby.
Then you're gonna have a clean bum.
That is it, baby. Clean all over. You know what I mean?
Except for you.
Yeah, not everyone can be as blessed.
You
as
got hamburger grease in there.
Oh, that reeks.
Hamburger.
Shout out
grease.
Saugeen.
Who?
Oh, that's like a residence in Western, but like I'm just saying, like a soggy ass, like Saugeen.
I've never heard that before.
No, you wouldn't.
Pull
Only
over.
with me, you'd hear something.
Pull over, please.
Pull over.
What's that?
Ever drank so much that you threw up?
Fucking so bad.
No, it's terrible. It's, you feel bad for both of
Actually,
those
I
guys.
do have a story about
No,
that.
but why are you saying that's not a story?
It's not.
It was.
Yeah,
it
if
clearly was.
you could make it one. But I didn't know we wanted to make it a story.
Okay.
You know?
Let me
It
ask
was
you
a
this.
It was just an
story,
add-on to
motherfucker.
his. That's why.
Eric, have you ever drank so much that you've thrown up?
I
What
mean,
the hell kind of question is
the
that?
Pope Catholic?
Like, does the bear shit in the woods?
I do, and it's funny how it happened actually. So remember when Tim Hortons still does this, but you know how they have those like hockey cards that are out for a limited time. So this was maybe 2020, 2021, and I was on FaceTime with the boys. I was like, okay, listen, if I pull a franchise trio, that was the card. I'm gonna get hammered tonight because my dad and I we just made a trip to the LC.
Okay.
Right? And like first of all, the fact that I'm getting hammered over pulling a hockey card is absurd. Okay?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I was thinking in the first place.
Yeah.
So obviously I end up pulling the franchise trio, and by myself I end up drinking 2 tall boys of like the Smirnoff vodka ice pop flavor, 2 tall boys of blueberry hard iced tea.
Blueberry vodka.
And I had no, not blueberry vodka, blueberry hard iced tea.
The Mike's one.
Mike's.
No, not Mike's. It was
The blueberry hard iced tea.
What else?
I don't remember what the brand was anyways. And then I had 3 big gulps out of the bottle of Hungarian plum brandy, which is 47% alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
So I
all
had
cool at that point.
mixed 3 drinks by myself just because I pulled a franchise trio, and I shit you not, I think it was the shots that put me over, because as soon as I had those shots, dude, I was sitting on the shitter. I was hunched over like this, and I was like, oh my God, my head's spinning. Holy fuck, this is so bad. And literally I got on all fours, started throwing up. And
shitting?
no, not shitting. I was just on the shitter because I didn't know what to do with myself. You know?
What am I
I was
doing?
just like, fuck, like,
What am I
I thought, how
doing?
about if I sit on my bed, if I sit in the office chair, let me just sit on the shitter in case I gotta throw up. And lo and behold, I ended up throwing up. After I throw up, I crawl back in bed, my head's spinning, my mouth tastes like shit. Luckily, I had a friend on FaceTime with me who was kind of taking care of me, but this all happened because of a franchise trio. I drank what was supposed to be like about a week and a half's worth of alcohol in one night because of a hockey card that was worth maybe $40.
Yeah, the worst is when you drink.
It's
and
kind of brutal.
you got that world spinning type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like,
No,
Yeah.
that's the good part. That's the best part.
It was awesome.
It's literally
No,
that,
it was
TikTok sound. Huh?
it wasn't a,
So you're never doing that again, eh?
yeah, no, can't say drinking that much alcohol over a hockey card.
Just for a card, yeah.
It's on my
alone.
agenda
Oh.
anytime soon. Like even nowadays when I go out, I'm not a big drinker. Like I went out to the Maddy, the pub on Madison.
Where's that?
The other day.
We know the
It's,
Maddy.
You know the Maddy.
We're the
dude.
regulars
You,
there.
you,
Every
you've got your
other
name in the
weekend.
rafters
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
You
we're
kidding me?
Maddy alumni
You
at
guys
this
are
point.
legends there, or so I've been told. I've yet to go out.
Yeah,
with
we gotta
you
go with
guys.
We got some people that actually noticed us at the Maddy. They noticed
God.
Macedo,
Yeah.
they noticed Jack,
Yeah.
they noticed Gianluca, they noticed
Yep.
me, they noticed
on.
yeah, and then they noticed you.
Oh, dude, when I went, like, this is gonna sound like I'm an asshole, but like, I literally couldn't go 20 feet without like people knowing me. Like, it got to a point where like me and my buddy, I went with my buddy Ben, and we were sitting in a booth, and I would just look over in the distance, and there would be dudes who were just like, and then like I would see him like showing my videos to his buddies around the table, and like it just got to a point where like it's great, but it, like you kind of feel like I was at a PR event, you know. But it was fun though, because like realistically, like I didn't see anyone else at the bar who was kind of getting known like that, so
Yeah.
you know. And
felt like
it
you
was
were the
it was
shit.
also my first time ever out like in Toronto, because I that was never really my scene, going out and partying, and it was my first time going out. Didn't really know what to expect, and it was 10 times what I had experienced before. It was cool though. I met a lot of good people, made some great connections. I would honestly love to shoot content one day at the Maddy on like a packed Saturday night, because I feel like that would be really good, like interview style stuff with just like a bunch of
follow
drunk
you.
people.
Yeah. Follow, they
know?
do follow me. Maddie, you guys, you're seeing this.
Yeah,
Let's run it.
Let's get
We
it
wanna
going.
do content
I met
then.
a great connection too. One of the guys who's working the bar at the outside patio there. He
Okay.
was like, "Yeah, dude, like whenever you're coming by, like let me know." I don't know when we first got there. We got there like 9:30, 10. It was a little bit dead, and it really picked up around like 11. But it was fun. You know, it was kind of.
You get lost a couple times?
To be. No, but I did like towards like the end of the night. I was discovering rooms that I didn't know were there the whole time.
Yeah.
It was like you know, it's like what are those things called? The
They got the foosball room.
I didn't even know
pool
it was a
tables?
food. Yeah, like
don't have
the little.
You guys ever had the food there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's all right.
I don't think you're going there for the food, buddy. You're going.
We're not going for the
You're
food.
going there for the drinks, and you're going for the dance floor with the red lights. and
Ding, ding.
ladies.
Yeah.
That's what you're going there
Yeah.
for. This guy goes. You're going
hate
there
that
for
place.
So you, the food is the food good?
yeah.
Come on, bro.
That's the only reason why I'm going.
That's a guy who doesn't grow up, man.
That's a guy who sounds like he's never kissed a woman in his life.
Ladies, if you're looking for it.
What about
I'm
Nick?
here.
The one time that we went and we thought, so we also went one time like really early, and we just thought like, is it happening tonight? Like,
Yeah, we got there like we took an Uber. I
they
think we
not-
got there at
Is it
9.
happening tonight?
At 9:30. Yeah, we were talking to people like, guys,
Is
like,
it
what's going on?
happening
Like, is it
tonight?
canceled? Like,
what's going on?
Canceled.
It was just like 3 people
Because we didn't see
there.
anybody like outside, even in a
Yeah,
line.
yeah. What time did you guys show up there?
Like 9:30.
Yeah.
So right around the time when we got there,
We
with my
thought like
buddy.
it's not happening.
Yeah, it's funny too because like when
And then it was live.
When my buddy and I showed up, my best friend actually Benjamin, his name's Ben. I don't know why I said Benjamin. I never
Benjamin.
call him Benjamin. We were actually just coming from the Crumble event, and we were dressed up in like like event clothing.
Yeah,
we were in
yeah.
like a collared
Yeah.
polo shirt and like khaki pants and like with decent shoes.
It's okay. There's so many wild outfits there.
Well, dude, I felt like we were totally like overdressed.
Yeah,
for the
they don't know how to
occasion,
dress
though,
there, no.
You know, I will say though, there was one girl who did know me, and it was her birthday. She was a little shorter than me, and she had blonde hair. I think. If you're watching this, DM me because you were a sweetheart.
Happy belated.
I do want to hear from you again. So
Sweetheart.
if she wants to get on that, I'm welcoming it.
Shout out.
I don't know what her name is though. She
Brittany.
even though she told me her name.
Brittany.
I don't think
You
it was
were
Brittany.
drunk. You were drunk. You know, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
didn't even
know,
get the snap?
No, dude, I didn't. No, I should have. But the thing is, she was with her one friend, and her one friend was super fucking annoying. She was like, because she was.
That's
'cause-
how it
Hold
be.
on, 2 of her friends actually. The one friend, she couldn't believe that I like my own TikTok. She was like, "What the fuck? You
What
like
is
your?
wrong with
Why do you
you?"
like your own videos? Like, even I don't like my own videos." And I was just like, "Dude, I have 333,000 likes on this one video. I think I'm doing something right."
But also believe in yourself.
Exactly. It's like I like the product I'm putting out there, so yeah,
Like
I'm
your
gonna like
own?
it, you know. And then her one friend, the other friend to the left, not the one who her birthday. She was like, "It's like, are you even like really that famous? Like, are you actually that famous?" When her friend was freaking out that she met me, I was like, "I don't know. What do you think?" Like, you answer the question, you know. And I could tell she was putting on this like whole ego act, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
It was like this clip we saw the other day, you know, classic LA hoes. They'd like be acting like they don't know
Oh,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
Like, it was like Jared Leto
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
Giuliano Hooges.
She's like, who are you
whatever.
again? Jared
It's like,
Leto.
wait,
And then she's like searching him up, and
Jared
then it's like,
Lenbo?
Lenbo.
Jay Leno? Like, she's saying all this shit. She's like, yeah, like I had to act like I didn't know him, so like, you know, he would like think I'm cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Fuck that.
Listen, I think it's cooler when you're just like, oh, hey, I know you for what you do. I think your work is dope, and it's nice to meet you. Instead of just playing this whole ego act, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna pretend like I don't
People
know
are
you.
in high school.
Even though I did pull that once at the Drew House event, Darcy Tucker was there, and I pretended
You're like,
like
"Who
I
are
did
you?"
it, and I pretended I was like, hey, what's your name? I was like, oh, he's like, oh, my name's Darcy. I was like, oh, my name's Eric. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah.
shitting myself. I remember Gianluca. He's the first person I was like, dude, I know who that is. I just pretend like I didn't know him, you know, because like I mean, it was my first time going now.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I didn't want to seem like I was, you know.
So you're an LA hoe is what you're telling me.
fanboy. Toronto. I'm a Toronto host. Toronto
JK,
host.
JK.
Toronto host. But
People who talk in like abbreviated terms like JK. LMAO, yeah.
lol. Yeah.
Lol?
You know, what? I've actually never heard people who actively speak with abbreviations. I think that would be really weird. Like it's one
Like
thing.
LMAO or
It's one thing to do it over text. I think it's another thing to like, lol. That was so
Well,
funny.
people
dude.
do it, man. People do
Yeah,
it.
People-
I do. I
people
just
do
did it.
AF
I
a
said
lot.
JK.
People do AF a lot. Oh, AF.
That's so
never hear
funny,
that one.
AF.
Fuck.
That's so whack AF.
Me, I do one.
That was good, man. That was good.
are you guys like an LOL person, LMFAO?
You
Like
know
when you're
what?
texting or
I
an
feel like
emoji?
LOL is it's something I'm
a
guilty
winky face,
all I do is say
eggplant
LOL.
emoji
I do the
kinda guy.
LOL.
Nah, LOL's passive
I do
aggressive,
that.
bro.
I do the
just
LOL.
type
I
it
don't
out.
know.
Nah, because
LMAO.
LOL is like saying like LOL, like you're not actually fucking laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one actually laughs out loud.
That's the thing. When you send the girl a text and she replies with "lol," you know she didn't.
Yeah,
laugh.
she hates you.
Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, this guy's
Didn't
dust."
actually
I
laugh.
honestly, I'm trying to get rid of all LOL things. Trying to not use
trying
emojis.
not to,
2024, no emojis, no LOL.
Listen, I think emojis are
Emojis
fine
are good.
as long as you don't overuse.
Yeah, you gotta
them.
use the emojis.
Like the one where it's like a moaning face.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or there's the one where it's like
What's a top tier emoji? Rank them.
that's a really good one.
What's your favorite emoji?
Okay,
But you
hold
have to
on.
do it though. You
Okay,
have
hold
to do
on.
the
Let's
emoji though.
Let's do top 5 emojis.
Okay,
Top 5? Okay,
Okay,
wait,
top
I gotta
5.
look at them though. We
Okay,
gotta look at
I'm
them.
going number 5 is the one where it's like the face is sort of like, you know.
Squiggly like. Yeah.
What is that
Nah,
one?
you know what I'm
I
talking
have
about.
no idea.
Yeah, this is gonna
The
be
one
a
where
fucked-
it's like-
this
it's
is gonna be
this
a
one.
fucked
Look,
up
look,
list because we all use different emojis.
What's that one?
It's this one, dude. Look.
We'll put it on the screen.
Yeah,
We'll put it on the
we're gonna
screen.
put it on the
Which one he's
screen.
talking about here?
I know what you're talking about.
This
No
one.
one at home cares.
That's your number one emoji.
That's your number 5.
No, but like yeah, that's my number 5.
That's
yeah.
an awful number.
That's like a worst.
Dude, there's like 1,000 emojis. That's your
That's one of the
5th best
worst,
emoji.
That one's really good.
Come
the moaning
on.
one.
Yeah, the moaning one is good.
Oh my god.
I mean, I think we've got different tastes.
That's a
at
good
I think
emojis,
okay.
to
The
say
laughing one, of
least.
course, is number 1. Where it's like,
I
one
do
actually
the
laughs
laughing
like-
with the tilt. That one's good. And like the
oh, that's like it's so fucking funny. when
That's
you
the
do that
goated one.
But do you do like the dead one where it's like I'm dead? Like no, I never use that.
What about
I,
the
I,
bounce
I,
school?
I used to be big on that one until I just kind of.
the fire emoji's top 3.
No, the best
That's a
is the
top
head
tier.
exploding one. The fucking like
Oh no, that's your favorite, man.
I use that for
I'm
every.
gonna
short.
hit you guys with one that I am surprised hasn't been mentioned so far. The eye emoji, the one
oh,
where it's
the
the 2
eyes.
eyes. Where it's
Oh,
like,
the eyes good.
I think that's got to be a
The
top
eyes are
tier.
top
But like, what is that
emoji.
saying though? What is that? It's,
I think it depends on what you're using the emoji.
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm
depends on
gonna
the
be honest.
concept.
I used that emoji this morning. There was a girl who posted quite the picture of herself.
That's the one you use it.
and I slid up a little eye emoji because it's not given like, hey, like
Exactly.
let's.
it's like shit.
it's
girl,
subtle.
I
It's like,
see
hey,
you.
like I see you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm
See
not
you.
giving you too much attention.
Exactly.
But it could also be criminal offensive side eye.
Yeah.
That's gonna get played again. What was that,
It could be that too.
Because it's like really,
Yeah.
Because like that works, but then it's also like damn.
The Cowboys pretty good too.
You guys just hear
The
that down
Cowboys
there?
pretty good.
You sharded.
Someone sharded downstairs.
Guys, one of the movers showed.
Nick sharded. Oh, that's an exposure.
One of the movers showed.
yeah.
Oh man.
Did some wet wipes.
What about you, Jin? Top tier emoji for you. Top tier emoji.
I know. The
wanna
most
hear yours.
used is
Okay,
like just the laughing.
Let's go around top 3. We're gonna start with Julien.
Top 3?
Okay, I'd say my
I think
most.
top 5's too tough.
Top
We'll
1,
go-
I think.
No, we'll go top 3.
I'd say my most used is probably the laughing with like the tilt.
That's not the question. The question's top 3.
Yeah, that's okay. That's probably number 1. Number 2, like you gotta throw the fire emoji in there. No, like that's like
That's a
five.
staple. That's a staple. That's a staple.
No, number 3, maybe the check mark. No, that's brutal. But
That's
yeah,
fucking brutal.
that's probably what I used
It's an
to.
acquired taste
The
of
check
emojis.
mark?
yeah. I hate when he comments
green
shit
one.
with that.
The check mark sucks, bro.
Fuck that.
Or like I used to do the prayer one too. That one's pretty good.
Okay, well I'll tell you mine right here. So,
I thought we were gonna go in order.
oh, we're going over. Okay,
Yeah, Eric.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Number 3, undefeated, undisputed. The eye emoji, without a doubt. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the handshake emoji.
Oh,
I don't think
that's
so.
underrated.
I
That's
don't
like for the
think-
fellas.
I don't think the handshake emoji gets enough love. Number 1, I gotta go. Probably just I gotta go laughing face. I gotta go laughing face. It's universally loved. Everybody uses it. Everybody laughs with it. That's my top 3: eyes, handshake, laugh. That's a review,
There you go.
Mr. Petrigaro.
I'm going laughing number 1 because everything's funny.
That's unanimous. Yeah.
Then I'm just thinking like, what do I DM people? Like I'm DMing like someone. They're like, yo, that's
Are you firing off eggplant emojis?
No. I'm
Is
just
that what's
like,
going on
like
here?
the
You're
one where it's
just
like it's the
sending them off?
prayer. The prayer. It's like, yo,
Oh, the
thank you,
prayer.
bro.
Prayer, eggplant
Thank
emoji,
you.
please.
Thank
Just-
you. And then also like the hands like this.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
Thank
good
you.
phrase.
Shout
Thank
out.
you.
So you're very like
very
talking with
handy.
your hands kind of.
I'm talking about the hands, and then also like maybe.
Well, that was top 3, no?
And also the.
Yeah, that's an honorable mention.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Jean-Lu.
Okay, so I love the eye roll emoji. Like the one like
that's
Okay,
brutal. Like,
I like that.
eye
I like
roll's
that
good.
play out of you.
That's like I just.
Is that your
it's-
3 or
that's
is that your
playful.
1?
That's playful.
That's a playful one. Oh, that's probably number 1.
Is that your number
Right
1?
now, right
Think
now.
about us
that's
right
number
now. We're
one.
talking about
Okay.
emojis.
I also am gonna say the eyes as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
like
Game
you.
respect game.
That.
Right
yeah,
on.
Exactly.
I know you're sending off a lot
Yeah,
of those.
yeah. The eyes you gotta send. You
You
gotta send,
hornball.
and then
You fucking whore.
you gotta send the eyes, man. You know. Okay. Anyways, and then the one like that's like
Like the teeth.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
That's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
thumbnail.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, brutal.
That's a good emoji, I
I'm
think.
sure people are gonna be.
There's a
clicking
lot
on
out
the
there.
video
There's
now.
like
They're gonna be clicking off. Eh?
No, they're clicking
yeah,
on.
yeah. Every day you learn about new emojis too, and you see they just pop up.
They gotta add some
I'm
more.
gonna be honest. I get so fired up when there's like new emojis.
And it's like a
Emoji
camel or
The new
something.
emojis just dropped.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just like scrolling to see which ones. You know, would you guys ever just like throw emojis in your bio back in high school?
Oh, but wait.
Like your bio would
sorry.
just be an emoji.
Before you say that, I forgot. Okay, emojis aside. What is undefeated is when you do the emoji yourself with the text icons.
Nah.
When you do like the winky face with the with the colon.
Okay, with
that's
yeah,
really
okay.
old, man.
No, that's you
that's
do that.
vintage.
That's really vintage.
I think that sets a different tone. I'm gonna be honest. I think you go like if we're using
I use those a lot
if we're
too.
using the winky face
You're an old head.
as an example, I think between the hours of like
You type the fucking
Yeah, man.
expression.
no, dude, because
Oh.
listen, there's a time and a place.
Like
I'm
this.
gonna be honest. After the hours of
Like
like
that, bro. That's the best.
Oh my god.
That's old school.
after the hours of like
After the
11
hours, it might
o'clock
get a
when you
little-
see
That's a
and you
little
see the
creepy, that one.
conversations going in that direction, you pull
Yeah,
out one
then
of
you pull
those
out one of
because
those.
because it gets to a
Different
time and a
vibe.
place where like you don't need emojis anymore.
Different
It's
vibe.
you know
You're going
it's-
back to like flip phones.
yeah,
and
you're
shit.
going back to listen. It's my words that are doing the talking. My words are getting make sure you're feeling sometimes.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly.
And the emoji might be a little too strong.
Right.
Let's stop talking about emojis. Though. I mean, we've spent
What's
What
your,
about the emoji movie?
what are your guys' opinions on voice messages?
Oh, dude, I'm a huge voice message
Love that shit, man. This is what we can
Team-
talk about.
Team VC all the time, dude. Especially like when it's late at night.
Should we
I'm
play some?
tired in bed.
Oh, dude,
No,
we're
don't
playing
play
some.
them.
Oh, I'm playing some.
Oh, we're going. I thought you meant like with the ladies.
No.
I thought that's what we were doing here.
With the ladies, it's good too.
No,
So
I'm
I
talking
know
about
the
like-
ladies
I'm talking
love
about
it.
I'm
Oh,
talking
they
about,
love
let
the
me
voice
find. Let me
messages.
find one right here.
Jean-Louis need to do it.
What does that mean?
That was you. Find one. Find a fucking random one right now, man.
It could be something bad though. You never know, right? So
It definitely
These guys
could.
love sending them,
It's
but I'm
voice
like,
memo roulette.
Drew
I'll
could
be
never
at
listen.
work and they send 50, and I'm like, guys, I'm not listening.
I don't know
to
about
this.
you guys, but I use voice messages as like a business investment with the ladies. Like if
yeah.
I'm sending voice messages, sweetheart, like there's intentions.
He's doing
behind
it.
that.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason my voice is a couple baritones
right.
lower, and I'm using a different vocabulary than I would. Guys talking about trips
I
and
just let me
dentists and
find
shit.
one fucking.
Nick, enough. You're
stupid
not gonna
one,
find one.
please. I know they're out there.
VC, baby, VC.
I know they're out there. Okay, guys, continue.
What
your
about those
conversation.
Hinge profiles where they're like, send voice messages?
One of my prompts is actually I'll send a voice memo 70% of the time, and they love it. And they love
they
it.
hit you
that's
with
a
the
yeah, man.
"I love your voice."
They do, and that's why I send it off because I need that validation sometimes. Like, hey, just a little reminder that oh my god, your voice. It's like I send it off, and they're like, your voice is.
Yeah, because then like they want to hear it
know.
too. They want to hear it. Then they get to know what it sounds like originally.
Yeah, exactly. I also think like voice messages are a lot less intimidating.
Yeah, because one time, dude, sorry to cut you off there, but one time a girl sent me a voice message, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's how you sound.
I also find it very attractive when a girl has like a nice voice. Like if a girl has a nice voice, I am into that. You know, what are you? This guy's.
Did you find a good
This
one?
guy's having a little too much fun with the voice
Found a
messages.
good one?
Give me that thing there, boy.
What the fuck, man?
I do not want to know the context.
Nobody knows that.
No, Julien will just
What
send
I
that
still
random.
don't
There's
know
no
what the context is.
He'll
You
just
ever
send
see
it.
that guy on TikTok who he goes up to like people and goes, "Why don't you hand me that thing there, boy?"
Yeah, but like, why
the
are you
grown
sending that
man?
random?
Why did you send that, man?
Yeah.
I don't know what side of TikTok. You're
My cause bring me out.
What were you gonna say before that?
on.
About voices.
Get that friggin' Skeeter out of here.
Skeeto crashing
about, like, the
set
voices.
here.
Pod is going wild today.
Yeah,
Shit.
unhinged, unmastered, unhinged.
Master today.
It's another T-shirt coming out in a few weeks.
What is that? Do that again.
Best hand signal.
Best hand
What do you guys
Is
signal.
it this?
You guys go.
This?
Come on, why are we like trying to talk about like basic things of human
We
expression?
got to change the subject.
This is
here, and we gotta
horrible,
do
man.
it quickly. This is going.
It's probably entertaining for the listeners.
It definitely is,
It
for
definitely is.
Not the listeners, the viewers.
The
Maybe, you know.
viewers. Yeah, no, not the listeners, because you can't see what we're doing.
You're gonna have to cut a little bit of this segment out. I'm gonna be honest. Just keep the entertaining bits.
Thoughts on Twitter changing to X?
Nah, fuck that. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, not that.
Fuck that.
Thoughts on Twitter becoming X?
No, I don't care about that.
Who
Enough.
cares, man?
Like that's
What
fine.
else?
Okay, I don't care. It's done. I can't do anything about it now. Wow.
This is your
really
guys'
gonna drive you
podcast,
guys.
man. I'm the guest here.
Well, you guys don't fucking say anything. That's why it's brutal.
You guys got to drive it here.
Say something that's not fucking Twitter turning into X.
What do you have in your notes app?
We didn't want. We
This
were
is a
trying to not
Steiny
go into.
moment, man.
We don't want to get into too many questions stuff, so that's why we're just kind of flowing with it. But I guess we're getting into some bad stuff.
Well, I mean,
think of
listen-
something.
Well, I mean, listen. When a podcast tends to get stale, the person who drives it usually brings up a question to keep.
Yeah, but
it
I've been
flowing.
driving it like a fucking
You
Mitsubishi.
have. You have.
Mitsubishi?
And y'all be driving it like a fucking Honda Accord.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Or a
Why would you want to
Toyota.
be driving an Accord?
What about a
though?
Toyota?
That's what I'm saying.
They're
It wasn't. It's not
long-lasting.
been driven well.
The
like it's-
Toyotas are reliable. You use that next time.
okay, fuck.
Says the guy with the Volkswagen, though.
Yeah,
eh?
I know.
So,
So, Mr. Nick,
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
where do I see myself in 5 years? That's a difficult question to answer. I don't really know where I see myself in a year, just because of, like, if I look at where I was maybe 2 months ago, 3 months, I'll say 4 months ago, I could never imagine that I would have been sitting here with you guys.
Talking about emojis.
Yeah, if that's the angle we want to take on it. But like, I just wasn't in a good spot. Like, I would be coming home. I'm not gonna say what I was doing when I get home, but I'd just chill, and then I'd go to work, and then I'd come home, and I'd get high, and I was just going along with it, but I knew that wasn't sustainable. I wasn't building anything with my life, and so for me to tell you where I'm going to be 5 years from now, well, I hope to have built up a successful empire. Or sorry, I will have built up a successful empire for myself. I also really want to get into acting. I think film, TV stuff would be really dope. But also still doing the social media stuff. Although I don't know if I want to be doing hockey for the rest of my life. I think it's fun now, and I think it's great for me to build myself up through hockey, but at the end of the day, I'm going to want to veer off into something that I can really exploit and kind of reach the masses that isn't the hockey niche.
Yeah, right now it's good because it's a niche and there's unlimited things you could talk about in that niche, but then sort of becomes a point where it's like, okay, how many times can we, keep talking?
Yeah, and
Or
I
like,
find with my content too, like when I first started, there was just so many relatable, funny scenarios where you could put a hockey player in and I would be able to act it out really well. Whereas nowadays, I'm kind of like, I'll be honest, there are a couple ideas that I'm trying to stretch.
So it really isn't unlimited then. I take that back. It's limited.
No, it's very much unlimited. It's just difficult for the viewer to perceive it the same way they would something that they've already lived through and that they can relate to. Because realistically, how many people can relate to a hockey player being like a lawyer, or a hockey player being like a car salesman? Like, those are funny skits.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when those skits aren't executed how I want them to, it gets to a point where it has to be really funny for it to have a reaction out of the audience. It can't just be pure I've had this experience before, et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely think as far as that's concerned, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. But as I said, you know, I definitely want to get into stuff that isn't just me in front of a green screen and kind of putting a hockey player in different scenarios, because I think I've got more potential than that. I think what I've done to this point to build up what I have is great, but I think now it would be like, okay, let's see what else my next big thing can be that's going to lead me to some success. Kind of like how Aiden Dale had his t-shirt stuff. Like what's going to be my t-shirt? And these are questions that I ask myself. And I know that, you know, when the time's right and the time's going to come, I'm going to find it. And it's going to be one of those things where it just comes to me, you know? But, yeah, I definitely think that's where I see myself 5 years from now. I also, one of the things I love is fashion, clothing. And, I've always really wanted to have my own clothing brand. I think that'd be really cool, you know, to reinvest the funds that I make through social media, work, and kind of express my creativity in a different way that isn't necessarily just videos. Because, like, as far as my creativity is concerned, it's so much more than just the hockey player. And I think that's what I kind of try and show through my stories, not necessarily my posts, but if you look at my stories, it tends to be different content that I don't necessarily post on my feed. Like, I love clothing, I love video, I love, you know, cinema, I love like doing my own little edits that aren't necessarily hockey. I just love everything about the creative space, and I just happen to be creative in the hockey niche. But I definitely think my potential is so much more than just that. Obviously I love it. Hockey was my life, and it still is to this point. But I think as the road goes on and as I mature, I'm definitely going to find myself a little...
Oh, you will for sure.
A little canyon where I can get settled in and just kind of, you know, exploit that.
But you will like tap into those other things.
Absolutely.
It's just like a matter of time, because you probably like 5 years ago didn't think you were going to be, you know, doing a podcast, or didn't think you were going to be doing like maybe hockey videos the way you're doing them now.
Yeah.
It's probably like in another 5 years, you'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I'm doing like a full ass clothing brand. Like, you know,
5 years ago, actually, I was shitting on people for having TikTok downloaded on their phone.
Oh,
I was like, oh, you're fucking weird for having TikTok.
Well, it was like
on
Musically
your phone.
back then, or was it TikTok?
No, it was Musically. It was Musically, and then they changed the name.
Well, it was
to
brutal because they were just
TikTok.
like renegading and shit all the time.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's so dust. And then,
It was bad. It was honestly really bad back then.
You ever getting into that?
What, like dancing on videos? No, man.
Oh, you should do one though. You should do at least one.
Never,
no.
dude.
But like one where it's like hockey guy tries to do it.
I guess so.
Only one. Give
Depends.
us
It
one.
Get out
depends.
of the hockey guy thing.
Depends how I would want to go about
shit,
it.
man.
I don't think you guys are gonna be seeing nags dancing on camera anytime soon.
And you also want to like venture off into like making more longer style YouTube vlogs type stuff, or challenge videos and stuff like that, or?
I would say as far as my long form content is concerned, I would love to just show like behind the scenes of like the process and creativity, and obviously like posting those long form videos as well would be great. But like, I really just want to end up in a place where I find myself constantly pushing myself and always getting 1% better, but still making that something that's entertaining and desirable for the viewer at home. Because at the end of the day, as I said, I find my mind is just so much more than what I've put out there to the masses so far. And it's just a matter of me finding a way to communicate that. Like, that's why I have this idea of me starting my own podcast, is because I feel like it would be a way for me to tap into a niche that I find is pretty open in what my area is. Because I find a lot of the hockey podcasts, or like people who do hockey that have podcasts, are too focused on the hockey thing. Whereas I find like I want there to be hockey tones, just in a much more general projection. And by that, it's kind of like what I did in my videos, where it's like, yes, I play the act of a hockey player, but I'll have people reaching out saying like, hey, like, I don't watch hockey at all, I've never followed it before, yet I love your content and I'm obsessed with it. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. You know, like, I want people to see like hockey players and the hockey culture and just like, oh, this is funny. Like, this is just guys kind of shooting the shit. And it's just like, to prefer it to be a fun environment, but I don't want it to be super like, oh, hey, yeah, we got this guy from D1. Let's just strictly talk about hockey and like what he eats on a day-to-day basis so that he can put up this X amount of points this season. You know, I don't want it to be that. I want it to be something that people come on, you have fun, you drink something, maybe you might smoke a joint, you might do what you do, and you're just having a casual, laid back conversation, you know. And I think that's really kind of is what's missing in some podcasts nowadays that I really would love to exploit.
I feel like our podcast sometimes is too interview centric. Like we always have these conversations, right? Where it's like, how do we do it so that we're enjoying it and the guest is enjoying it? It's professional, but it's not fucking stupid. Because there's a way that you can make it so stupid, and there's a way you can make it too professional, where it's like, yes, and how did you do this? And life is about consistency. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking annoying for the listener and for the people on it. Although it has good intentions behind it, how do you find that balance where it's like educational, entertaining, funny? Like it's got to be, I think the word is dynamic. It shouldn't just be like this thing that, you know, you're sitting here and you're like, fuck, like it's, like they got a cool guest, but like I could care less what the fuck they're saying.
I think to an extent too is,
I want to feel like you're there, like chilling.
Like my philosophy a lot of the times is things are what you make of them.
In terms of what?
Let's say you're sitting in a room. It might just be a room through the lens of your phone, through the lens of your creative mind. You make it what you make it. Things are what you make of it. Like when I went through airport security and I made an edit. Yeah, I went through airport security. You might think, oh, there's not much to do there. There's a lot to do there. Why? Because things are what you make of it. And I think that's a lot of the things that people don't realize is like when Mr. Beast started, he had an iPhone. He made the best of it using an iPhone. You know, like
it's just about the ideas, I think.
Exactly. And I think it's at the end of the day, you might be sitting in a room, but there's so much more to that room that you can exploit, that you can make happen in that room instead of just taking something. I think that's the message. Don't take something for face value.
Yeah.
Don't just take it as that. See how you can bend it, how you can twist it, how you can turn it upside down, rotate it. How can it look different? What if I put the angle here? What if I do that? What if I say this? What if I say that? You know, it's what you make of it, I think, is what's really special. And the people who are in that 1% are able to make the best of things that seemingly to someone is just ordinary. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's what you make of it, and I think that's really important. Like I'll give you a good example. Like when I'm sitting in my room and, you know, I'll throw on my AirPods and I just sit down and I jot down ideas for notes and then for ideas, like I'm sitting at that desk, but as I'm writing those videos, as I'm writing out those scripts, I'm putting myself in those situations. Yeah. And again, I'm not able to do that if I'm just sitting at a desk. I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm sitting at a desk. What am I going to do? It's like you have to let your mind wander, you know? And I think I always go back to the example of having the creativity of a child when you're laying down on the floor and you're playing with your Hot Wheels cars. And one car is flying in the air, yet seemingly, like, if you take it for face value, only one car is moving at a time. But in your mind, this car is jumping over this one, and this one is flying back this way, you know? And I think if you're really able to capture that creativity, it's going to put you so much further down along the line. But you're not able to grasp that creativity if you don't take things and make them into what you want them to be, which is what I was really trying to get at here.
Well, that's 100% even everything that we're just doing right now.
Absolutely.
That childlike mentality almost.
Absolutely.
It's not childish what we're doing, but a lot of people lose that, like what we were talking about before, right? They lose that ability for the risk, you know, to go do whatever.
100%.
Play with this thing. Go do that. We're starting a podcast. This is fun.
Yeah.
This is what we like to do. We're talking. We're creating content, right? A lot of people lose that childlike wonder or, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, but I think you can almost lose that childlike wonder doing those things too, though. Like you can commercialize things.
For sure you can.
Like there's a line that needs to be, you know, watched, that you're not doing something solely to make money or doing something solely to get likes or get subscribers or followers. Like, you know, you look at some of these people and these, you know, Mr. Beast, for example, like, I don't know if it's really in his heart to make the videos that he's making right now, or if he's doing it for the subscribers and for the money. And like we can go and, you know, we can speculate all we want.
Well, to argue that,
yeah, like
I think
he's one of the creators that's not yet.
if he wouldn't love it so much and if he wouldn't have the passion for it, he wouldn't overdo it from the top.
No, but I think he loves optimizing. Like, I think he loves trying to like take it to the next level and like the ambition that comes with that. But I don't actually think he gives a fuck about those ideas. Like, I think he's doing it just to like flex that he can do crazy shit.
But I think that's also a fair argument.
I
I think
disagree.
that's fine.
I think that's a bad. He's a bad example. He's like the
No,
most
I
guy who loves
disagree
YouTube.
because
No, but he's doing crazy shit.
Okay,
just to
but
get
I guarantee
views.
you, he's had millions or hundreds of ideas that he's put money into. He's recorded, but he's never put it out because he wasn't happy with the product. I think if he was just trying to do it to optimize, he would post everything and anything. But I think the fact that he's really focusing on the quality and making sure he wants to put out a product,
Yeah, but that's optimizing
he's
quality.
happy. No, if he was optimization would be putting as much out as possible and raking in the numbers. That's optimizing.
But so you're saying that making the most possible amount of something equals optimization. That's
Optimization
not
is
true.
making
It's
the most
quality
amount
as
of
well.
money with having to put the less as less into it or as little into it as possible. That's like why you look at McDonald's.
Yeah.
It costs them 20 cents to make them a $5 cheeseburger.
Yeah.
It's a shitty cheeseburger. Whereas you look at Mr. Beast, he'll put millions into 3 separate videos and he'll probably only post the one video, which he most likely ends up losing money on making those 3. But that one video was the best one for him. Whereas he would have every right in the world to post all 3 because at the end of the day, he puts $5 million into those 3. He's probably making $15 million from those 3 videos alone. Right. So I don't think it's fair to say that, listen, Mr. Beast is only doing it for the optimization.
All those
I don't think that's
channels
fair.
just got $1 billion valuation.
Well, that's because he's built himself up
Yeah,
to
he's
that
built
level.
it. Yeah, but also
Don't
it's
take that
like-
away from him.
I know I can't take it away from him, but what I'm trying to say is like he knew what he was doing. He built it for all ages. He did the most commercially like clean things you could ever have done. Like he's so close to like pretty much making children's videos. So like I don't look at him and be like, yo, I want to be
His
like
videos
Mr.
are
Beast.
children videos.
Yeah, it's children videos. He found his niche. Good for him. I think what it is maybe the problem I'm having is I'm coming from it from a more artistic perspective. Like I'm looking at guys like, for example, Kanye. Okay, take away all the things he said. Okay, just hold up.
Compare
Hold up.
Kanye to Mr.
No,
Beast.
hold up. Just
day
listen
and
up.
night.
Take away all the things that he said or whatever. You know that what he was doing with those albums was to make the thing that expresses himself the most to the public. Try to make real art that lasts a test of time.
Sure.
That what he's doing, what Mr. Beast is doing, is not real art and it's not lasting the test of time. And you forget about every video he makes. And you'll forget about it in 5 years. And the only reason he did it was to make money.
Okay, I understand
And
that.
he's making products like Feastables to capitalize on a child's market.
No, but of course
that will
he's gonna
fucking
do
beg
that,
their
though. He's a
parents to get it.
businessman.
And there you go. But he's
Okay.
capitalizing on a child's
Okay, but-
market.
okay.
He's making child
Okay.
products.
Let me counter that.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong
Does
with
Kanye
Hey, there's nothing
West
wrong with it.
did Kanye West not go out and make Yeezy brand? Did he not go out
The
and collaborate
Yeezys
with
are
Adidas?
genuinely sick. And everyone can unanimously say, okay, those are dope. He
Okay.
put time and effort to make that look amazing. And it's a one-of-one type of shoe.
so what
There's no
about-
other thing like a Yeezy.
So what about other rappers like Lil Baby who
Lil
go
Baby's
out,
commercial.
who go out and make snacks and shit?
He's
What do you have
commercial.
to say to that?
He's commercial.
okay.
Drake is commercial. Drake is a mix of Lil Baby and Kanye. Those guys are a mix of commerciality and artistic.
Well, again, I also find it's different comparing.
Yeah, I think yeah,
because
I know,
right
you
now
can't
you're
really compare
comparing
this
a
too much, I think.
YouTuber
Yeah.
who is
Or we're just
one
talking
of the
about
biggest
creatives in
people
general.
on the face of
I
the
see.
earth.
I understand what Nick is saying though.
like,
I
there's
understand.
guys who make Marvel movies and
No.
then there's fucking Martin Scorsese.
I understand what you're saying.
You know?
I understand what you're saying.
Well,
There-
listen,
there-
there's a market for everything. By you saying
Yeah.
that someone
Okay,
who
yeah, no
makes
one's denying
by
that.
you saying someone who makes some Marvel movies isn't as much into cinematography and is as passionate about it as Martin Scorsese isn't fair, because let's say that person doesn't necessarily want to make a Martin Scorsese-esque film. He's more into the superhero stuff, but he's got that same drive, that same passion, that same
I'm not
desire,
denying
that
that.
same lens for it.
yeah.
Not denying
No,
that.
I
That's
agree
that's a
with that.
totally viable thing. You can do it. No one's saying you can't do it. All I'm saying is what I appreciate is people who push the envelope and create a new idea that's never been done before.
Sure.
Like look
No, but
look
Mr.
at
Beast has done that, though.
Okay.
No, I understand what you're saying. With
I'm
the
sure
Mr.
he's done unique ideas, okay?
No, for sure.
Don't get me wrong. He's probably done some unique shit. But did he do it to just make some bank, or did he do it because he fucking loves
no,
the shit.
I think of course it's the money, but I don't think that's his only thing. And I think what you were saying with the optimization, that might be his thing that he likes.
That probably
his
is.
thing might be, I want to make the best, my video.
That's literally what he
My
said.
next video wants to be, I want it to be 1 billion views.
Yeah.
And that might be the thing that
But
he
we
loves,
forget
right?
that you lose the creativity when you're doing that because
No,
you're
I
thinking,
don't
what
give
does
a
the
brother.
audience
No,
want? You're
but
thinking about the audience while you're
you're
making
going
it.
for the
yes,
biggest
I
trigger in the
understand.
world.
Listen. When I make videos, I make
Yeah.
stuff I like, but I understand I'm making things for an
Yeah.
audience, so I have to tailor it.
You shouldn't.
To
You should
my-
make it
to
for
my
yourself.
audience.
You should be your audience.
No.
The way that everyone
disagree.
makes art is different. In my opinion, I think artists should make the art to appease them first and be like, I fuck with that. Not I appease my
Yeah.
neighbor
Yeah.
Yeah, but how
or
do you
my
know he doesn't
fucking
like
buddy
it?
who fucking couldn't care less about me,
That's what
but
I
I'm
just
trying to
said,
make a
though.
video that he
Nick,
loves.
that's what I just
You're
said,
using
is
the
that-
worst example though. Like he literally says
no,
on
no,
podcasts how he
no,
used to
that's
skip
fine.
school to make videos. Obviously, he
Okay,
loves it.
regardless if you skip school or not, it's
Yeah,
still,
but he
it's
clearly
still,
loves
you're
doing
still
it,
not
Nick.
understanding what I'm trying to say.
Nick.
Yeah, but you're saying he's doing it all for the money. He's been doing
Yes,
this
he
since
is. He
he's been doing it
clearly
since he was
is.
broke, Nick. He skipped school. He
He
lied to his
clearly is
mom.
making it all for the money.
Oh my
He's not
God,
Casey
Nick.
Neistat.
Okay, well,
Casey
listen, if
Neistat
you
isn't
were-
doing it all for the fucking money. That guy actually has a
Nick,
passion.
that's like I don't know. You're gonna get.
Well, what I was.
I don't know.
You
I don't
fucking
know.
agree with me
I
too.
don't-
You fucking agree
A
with me.
little bit, but not
You
all-
know you do. Deep down in your heart, you agree with
Yeah,
me.
but I don't think, I don't know. He has enough money then.
What
He would
I-
just stop now.
Okay,
Well,
can I
because he
just
wants
say-
more. He wants to be a greedy bastard. What
Can I
else does
just
he
say-
fucking want?
Can I just say that what I meant by that is, I make.
Of course he does.
As an artist, you make
It's fine. It's fine.
the dog barking downstairs. You make content you enjoy making.
Yeah.
But you just have to make sure it's tailored for the people who are fans of your content. You get what I mean?
Yes.
You make stuff
You can, yes.
You make stuff that you love.
You don't
make.
have to.
Well, because listen, I could make a video that I absolutely love and nobody else would like it. Or I could make a video that I absolutely love,
Yeah.
but I've made it in a way so that they like it as well. I think that's what I'm trying to get at here.
People don't know what they like until it's been created. So how the hell are you to say that someone, for example, Kanye makes Yeezus? How is anyone supposed to know they like that before it's created?
No,
So if he had everyone's thoughts in mind, he would have made The College Dropout 12 times. But he reinvented himself every single time, taking that risk, like we were saying earlier in the pod. Everyone's got to take these risks, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But with-
So he took that risk. He didn't do it because he wanted everyone to be like, oh my God, Kanye, you're so fucking good. He did it because he wanted to do it and he had the vision in his head and he executed it.
Yes,
It
but with
wasn't
that-
because he wanted the person who fucked with the college dropout to be like, yo, dude,
Okay, but listen,
you did it
listen.
again.
With that reinvention, with that reinvention comes him seeing how people reacted to the college dropout, and by him seeing how people reacted to the college dropout, I'm sure there's a hint in Yeezus of him going back to the reaction to college dropout and saying, okay, this is what I like. This is what the people like. I'm not necessarily going to do the
That was
exact
bound
same
too.
thing, but I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of what made that so magical. I'm just going to twist it up and change it a little bit because he understands now what his audience likes. As you said, when I first started making videos, I had no fucking idea what the people liked. As I kept on making the videos, I found out what people liked, but I still kept on making the content I enjoyed. I just figured out ways to make stuff I enjoy that's tailored for the masses who watch my stuff. That's what I mean. I'm not selling myself out by making stuff for the people. I'm just learning as I go on, like, hey,
You have a target audience.
I have a target audience, so I'm going to make stuff that I know is going to work well with the
there's nothing
target
wrong with
audience,
that.
but that I
There's nothing wrong with
absolutely
that.
love making. I know, but I just saw you were getting really upset when I said that, like, I'm making stuff for my audience. I think that you took that the wrong way. When I said
you
when I
can
said
do it.
that, I meant, yes, I make stuff for my audience that I still enjoy making, that I've learned throughout
And
the
sometimes
creative
that
process.
meshes perfectly,
Yes.
and that's amazing.
And I think that's the
That's
happy
probably what happened
medium.
with you.
Yes,
like that's
for sure,
great.
for
But I
sure.
think a lot of people think that they have to do it for the audience. Like You know, like I have to do a certain
100%,
thing
100%.
so that people are like, yes, like you're doing good because you're doing what everyone else is doing and what's the popular trend and you're doing the correct caption style and the editing style is like this person and oh, thank God you did it like that. And now it's like my other favorite creator. So you're similar to them,
No,
so I
okay.
can listen and watch
100%.
you.
Well, if
You know what I'm saying?
we want to go down that avenue, if you look at my style of content compared to the other hockey TikTokers, I walk quite the fine line with my subject matter and the lines that I use, and that hasn't really changed throughout how I've gotten bigger. That's kind of how I was in the beginning also. It would be super easy for me to, and this is no dig on Coach Chippy, great guy, absolutely love him, fires me off a DM every once in a while with a little, you know, don't think, just flow.
Yeah.
I could easily make my stuff a lot more child friendly, a lot more appropriate, but that's just not my avenue. That's just not my thing, and I don't think I'll ever get into that because that's just not who I am. I'm always going to put my own little spin. The way I see it is I make hockey content with a hint of raw stand-up comedy. Sure. You know, because raw stand-up comedy, it's provocative, it's offensive, it pushes the envelope to where you would make people feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really find myself a master in, you know, and that hasn't changed throughout anything. And of course, I would experience a lot more success if I cleaned up my content, if I made it a lot more between that, you know, 6 to like 13-year-old friendly, where all the moms love it. And don't get me wrong, the moms still love my videos, but it's just that I'm walking that really fine line, and I could have that much bigger of an audience if I were to clean up my act. But again, that's just not really me, because I found what makes me happy, what's my niche, and I'm going to keep on doing that. And if people fuck with me, they fuck with it. And if they don't, they don't.
Okay, that's awesome. I just got to ask you, do you like your own jokes and comedy? And if you can say yes to that, then you fucking won.
Well, I think you see how I am when I'm not on camera. I just act the same way.
do,
when I'm in the locker rooms, I say the same stuff. When I do the interviews, it's the same shit that you would see in the videos.
So it's you're being authentic.
Yeah, I say things that, like, that was always my thing growing up, was I never really had a filter, because I was just kind of like, man, I'm gonna say something. If you don't like it, walk away. I'm still gonna say it, you know. And if you have an issue with it, take yourself out of it. But if you like what you hear, hop on the train, hop on my lap too while you're at it, if you're pretty enough, you know. And that's just one of those things. Would someone say that? No. When am I gonna say it? Yeah. Why? Because I want to, and it's my brand. And you know, if you have an issue with it, like and scroll. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
But as long as you are liking what you're doing, because I think the problem arises when you, let's say, go viral for something.
Yes.
Right? So you go viral for a made up thing you
Asking
did.
people about all the continents in Africa.
Exactly. So we went viral for what's your fucking secret talent? And then she goes, I can name every continent in Africa. Awesome, sick, amazing. She goes, does that whole thing. Is that gonna be my personality now? Now that I got 10 million views on that, I should go up to people and see how many countries they can name. No, dude.
Yeah, no.
Because that's fucking. It could have been, and motherfuckers do that.
They do
Yeah,
that.
well, what if they like that though? You know, who's to say like Mr. Beast doesn't like making those videos? Or
Hey,
people
they
don't
like it. They're addicted to the views. They're addicted to the and the external validation that comes with it.
No,
because
that's
you
not true.
don't fucking like that.
You know what
you didn't go into this
That's not
game
true,
to
Nick.
go and do a weird fucking gimmick.
Weird?
Tell me I'm wrong.
Also, asking people their things in the interview questions is weird.
I think
It's
the
not.
problem is here is this is so general. Like there's so much, it's so fucking big, this industry of different people, artists. You can't say Kanye and then you go and say this guy who's interviewing like Africa questions.
Which is
who's
me.
interviewing these things. You know what I mean?
These
No,
are
but it's not
wild
you. It's not you.
comparisons.
It's like, it is very wild comparisons to compare, because that guy who's doing these interview questions is not trying to be Kanye. Maybe he is, and he fucking fell off.
I just used
right?
him
It's
as an
just-
example
I
of
understand why you
someone
did.
who's not
I understand why you
in
did.
a box.
For sure,
of
I understand.
creativity. You get what I'm trying to
Okay,
say?
I understand what you did.
Let me
I
pitch
know.
this. I'm obviously known for my hockey stuff. I posted a video, at the banana bread video. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, that was good. I liked it.
That's got like over 200K on my Instagram, and it's something that's
'Cause you're going out.
totally not related to my niche, but it's it's me making something I enjoyed. I was on a walk and I was like, let me just record myself making a funny story about how my mom's banana bread led me to me going on a fucking walk.
Which is dope.
And people loved it because, you know, it's me and it's the way I come across. And I think that's the most important thing, when you're able to come across the same way, whether if it's making hockey videos, whether if it's storytelling, whether if it's anything else, as long as you're staying true to your authentic self, regardless of your surroundings and the subject matter, I think that's what's key, because your true self is going to shine through regardless of the topic, regardless of the subject. Right?
It's you that people like. It's you. You could do anything you want. So what I'm trying to say is, that's what the goal is.
Yeah.
Is for us to just be ourselves and do what like we envision and the creative things that we have planned, and not get stuck in a box or lane because a viral video or something said we should. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And like, and you said that in your life, you know, you would envision yourself making clothing, you know, getting out of the hockey space, being a comedian, being an actor. To me, that's the life that I want to live too. We want to live a life where we don't have to be put in a box and say, you're the podcast guy, or you're the guy who did those hockey videos, or you're the guy who did that fucking thing. Like, no, you want to be Nick, you want to be Gianluca, you want to be Julien, and you want to be Erik. And you want to do what you want to do without someone have to say, you're that.
Well, I don't think it's fair.
Am I
for you
wrong
to-
or no?
I mean,
No, but now at the same, but who cares about that?
why don't you wanna
Maybe
be the
that's what they
podcast
know.
guy?
I don't think. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
No,
I don't-
that's
I
great.
don't think
All I'm
it's
trying to say is
fair
why have to-
put
why
Just for
people-
yourself.
Why do it?
Do it
Like-
for yourself.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
there's
it's
some
other
people
stuff.
who think that like, okay, I did this one thing and I went viral. I stepped
yeah, no, I
out.
understand
I
that.
need
I
to keep
understand
doing
that.
that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's fair to put people in that box, because let's say that's the only thing that they know.
Maybe
you
that is
from.
the only thing.
And like,
No, but
let's
that's-
say
but
it's
there's
like,
a lot of
like
people
you're
who know
Nick
you from-
Petchingaro from
Yeah.
the podcast. I
Yeah.
think that's so cool that someone's coming up to you saying that, but I don't think you should get offended because they're saying, "Oh, you're the guy from the podcast," instead of, "Oh,
No,
you're
I'm not
the
offended.
Nick
I think I think what he
Petchingaro."
was saying. I
No.
think actually he was just speaking from like a creator perspective, and he's saying I don't want to be that one. He doesn't want to be stuck himself just doing this. He's saying.
Yeah, like I could,
Okay.
we
He
could,
just
we could
used
go,
that
we could go
example of
ridiculously
that.
viral
Okay.
with this pod
Right.
and be so known all
Right.
around the world. But I wouldn't want to be known
You're saying
for
for
it
yourself,
solely.
you don't-
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I would want people to be like, or at least myself to be like, yeah, like I didn't just do that one thing because everyone said you're good at that, just do that.
Yeah, okay.
I want to go and push the envelope, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to go and like try doing clothing. Like look how we actually did clothing and it's on this table right now. There's a lot of people who would have done the podcast and been like, no, we're not doing clothing. We're not big enough yet. Fuck that. Do it. Try, practice, level up. Because when you are big and you have that audience, you at least have the know-how to make a piece of clothing. You know how to fucking press it down. You know how to use Photoshop. You did it because you weren't afraid. Because you weren't afraid to stay in this box that everyone thought you should stay in.
Well, I think that's
Like,
I think that's just a matter of it's up to the self. It's up to the person. It's up to saying, hey, like, yeah, I'm known for this. Great. Let me use this attention that I'm now recognized for, and let me put it in other avenues that I want to be expressing myself in, and that I kind of want to be known for not only this one thing. Can I say, like, I've still got burps from this fucking high
Do it,
move.
burp it.
Well, I have. I just have to. I don't know if you guys can see, but I moved my hand, my face away from the mic a little bit. Davey Page views.
Davey Page.
Let's get this figured the fuck out here. Oh, gentlemen, this is fun. You know, it's fun.
I just wanted to push it a little bit on here.
It's good. I think every podcast needs a little push and a little bit of pull, because if there's none of it, there's no conversation. Like when
Dude,
you're
we could have made it really simple. We could have made this
most
been like-
definitely, but
Yeah, you know?
I think that's one of the most I think that's the things, like when people have, like when friend groups have conversations and like, oh, we should start a podcast. I think it's because all those conversations, everyone is comfortable enough with one another that there's a level of push and pull in the dialogue, whereas you're not afraid to speak your mind and tell your friend, hey, I don't think so. I don't think you're right about this, or I think you're wrong about that. And that thus leads to the conversation, right? Which I think is very important, because if you're just a yes man, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, so and so now from my next point, you know, there's no real authenticity.
And that's where I want to get away from that with this podcast and with all the content that we do, because then you're in that 9 to 5 job and you don't even realize it. You boxed yourself into that 9 to 5 cubicle. It's just a different style cubicle.
Yeah.
Like this is its own cubicle. If you make it, it's like what you said before. It's what you make of
you make of
something.
it.
So we can make this into a job, and we can make this into a dreadful fucking thing that you're like, fuck, it's like back to work again. We're working on this. Nah, we're having a great time, and we're pushing the envelope. We're trying to be our most authentic selves, and we're also trying to get somewhere too with this conversation. Like I hope that at the end of this conversation, we can all question what we're doing and think, how can I be more authentic, or how can I be the best version of me and not have to fit into these societal, boxes or ideologies that we're all kind of fed and force fed. Because although we can say we're creatives, a creative job can be a job too. It can be a 9 to 5 if you make it a 9 to 5. What I'm trying to say is, like, let's not do that to ourselves. Let's stay with that childlike mentality.
Well, I think
keep pushing it.
I think that's one of the most beautiful things about being a creative, and not only just a creative, but a successful creative, is that you work on your own time. You make your own schedule. Whether you want to start at 7 a.m. and go till a certain time, do it. Whether you want to go do shit throughout the day and you want to start your shift at 8 p.m. and finish at 2 a.m., that's entirely up to you. Because once you find that level of success, once you know what works for you, there's no one to tell you not to do it, because what works. You're not confined to a box. And whether you want to change that up a certain day, whether you want to change your workspace, I think that's another really powerful thing. Is when I'm in my room and I'm just not feeling it, I find just changing my environment will help me bring out new ideas and generate new inspiration, or even just like understanding when I need to put the pen down, or understanding when I need to take a step away from it. Because I find a lot of the times what I went through in the early stages of the real grind, I would just kind of burn myself out, and I wouldn't really know when to take a step back, and I would really be just forcing these ideas that just weren't there and had no reason to be there, but because I just felt the need to, like, hey, I have to do this. I think that's one of the most important things, is that yes, it's important to show up and to be there every day, but you can't create from an empty mind. You can't constantly be putting stuff on a piece of paper if you have nothing coming in to your engine.
100%.
You need, like you look at the joints on a door, you can open and close them all they want. If there's no WD-40, it's going to get squeaky. The door is still going to open and close.
Tell me we need lube.
Let's wait for the cameras to turn off, But it's like the door is still going to open and close. It's just the quality of that open and close isn't going to be what it's like when it's in prime.
Lubrication.
WD-40, lubrication, phonation, it is, and I think my mom taught me that, and I think I didn't really grasp that concept and fully understand it until I was put in that position where I was just, okay, I have this idea, but there is just nothing for me to put into the execution of this because I expanded all of my creativity on previous projects. And I think as a creative, there's nothing wrong with leaving it there. With you leaving it there, there's no reason to think you're not making strides. Because for you to leave something there and to come back to it with a fresh mind, with a fresh perspective, you're making headways that you wouldn't have made if you would have tried and forced that idea. Not to mention, you could have one idea with A execution, and you can have one idea with B execution. A execution is forcing it. B execution is investing in yourself, realizing it's not what it is. You can put out the same product, same title, same idea, same derivative and same thought into it, but it's the execution that comes with forcing and understanding when I need to take a step back, gaining my thoughts, and then going at it. Because that's a shitty product that you're forcing. This is a product that you've put your quality, time, and effort into. It's like your cashmere toilet paper, and it's like your great value. It's like, this is mass produced. You can get it everywhere. It's cheaper. It's a lot easier to get out. Whereas this takes a little bit more time, but it's worth it in the end product. And I feel like people appreciate that, and they see that in the end. And I think that's what gets the best reaction out of people. I think that's why you look at movies. That's why movies take so long to make and produce. And that's why YouTube videos can be done the same day of recording.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different level. It's a totally different thing. When you're making a movie, you want people to feel emotions. You want them to be captivated. You want them to be... You talking shit, Nick?
No, I'm just saying like this is your shit. Like,
oh yeah, you want them to feel what they're seeing on the screen in their bones. Whereas a YouTube video, you watch the video, you'll probably remember it for a few days. You'll tell your buddies about it, and then you'll fuck off. There's a reason why we still quote movies from when we were younger, compared to us not quoting YouTube videos from, like, I can't remember the last time I watched I quoted like a Road to Shaw FIFA pack opening video. Again, I used to grind those, but like I can still vividly remember the emotions I felt when I was watching, like, I'll give you an example, like a Cars movie, or like what I was doing watching that movie, or like the Titanic, or just like something that really captivated me. It's because everything that went into that, you feel that as someone in the audience.
Yeah,
I think
the goal.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
No, man, that's
let's hear
just the
from
goal
you.
of film, man. That's the art.
Exactly.
That's the art behind it. That's why it's
Exactly.
there. That's why it's
Exactly.
art. You go to even an art museum.
Yeah.
You remember a painting. Why? Because that's just like, it's the human connection, right? You sent a video the other day about all that art and the human connection, emotion. That's the whole goal of art, right? You make a film, but it's from your own experiences, what that writing,
Yeah.
right? An experience that you had, and someone else in the audience had that same experience. They connect with it. That's what the whole goal of what a film is. Tell a story that someone connects to, and get that out there. Right?
I think art too is one of those things where the art is in the eye of the beholder. And I think that's what's kind of sets it apart from film, is because film, it's kind of, you're limited in where your mind can go when you look at it. Whereas when you have a piece of art, you look at it and
You're talking about like
paintings.
I'm
Those
talking
kinda-
about like when
that
you walk
kinda-
into a museum and
Yeah,
you see
okay,
like
okay.
art, or you go to like an art gallery. One person can look at that art piece and see something. Another one sees a different thing. And I think that's the beautiful thing about not only just art as in like canvas and pictures and paintings, but art in general, is because it really allows, like, if you think about it, movies and all those things, the art in that is someone's mind went to that place for that to be created, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things to think about, is that was a figment of someone's imagination. Someone's mind went there, they put pen to paper, and they made it work, and I'm sure they probably got that inspiration from somewhere, looking at something that was seemingly nothing that turned into, a big movie by, let's say, Steven Spielberg, Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino. Like, I know you're a big film guy. Where do you think those directors get their inspiration from, and what do you think kind of leads them to make the films that they make?
holy shit, I'm on the podcast now.
Well, yeah, you've been on here for about
I've been on
30
here.
episodes, pal. I mean, it's about time you
Holy
speak
shiza.
up here.
I mean, for me, it's, which I'm assuming it's all those guys. It's, you got it from real life experience, right? Like Scorsese, for example, all those things that he did, like all the mafia stuff, those are guys that he lived with, like back in New York. Like
Right.
that's like what he was around, what he
Right.
was surrounded with.
Right.
So obviously, like the true story, like from the Goodfellas, obviously he wasn't exactly there.
Yeah.
But everything that he puts into those characters and like in the writing
Was
and in
inspiration
the directing
from his
is
real life, yes.
inspiration, and that's why it makes those films so good.
Yes.
Because he could have just made telling the story of this book he read.
Yeah.
Of this story,
For
he
sure.
could have just made that. Anyone can
sure.
make it. But like what makes it a good film, at the end of the day, is because he put those real experiences into it.
And that's what I want to touch on, to the point I said earlier, is that's the difference between a movie and a YouTube video. He doesn't make that movie if he doesn't have years of him brewing in that in that environment to project a true, authentic image of what that's really like,
Exactly.
So what you're saying is you have to do a little bit of living before you can do some making.
Well, it's the same idea of what I said. You can't create on an empty mind. Like, I think I look back at my personal experiences. I think that's why I was so hot out of the gate with content, is because I hadn't made videos to that degree and to that output for months and months and months. And I had all that saved up in the vault from life experiences, from things that, I'd thought of previously in the past. And by having all those things in the bank, it was that much easier for me to just roll out a bunch of ideas. But if you're just rolling out ideas and you're not living life, you're creating on an empty mind.
Or you're just repeating what you've already done.
Exactly. Yeah. And it gets to a point where that's just like, it gets to a point.
It gets to a point.
It gets to a point. Like, that's why there's only one Goodfellas movie.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't Goodfellas 2, 3, and 4. Like, that's why, and I've had this argument with my mom, and I'm sure you as a film guy, you can probably pitch in or chime in here. I always find like the first movie of a series is always the best one. And then after that, it's just like, oh, this was really successful at the box office. Let's now make another one because we know we're going to make money from it. And that's when they change the actors. The storyline gets a little bit funky.
Whereas, and they optimize.
Yeah, 100%. That seems to be your favorite word this episode.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. They optimize, and it's just, you're looking at it like, yeah, I'll watch it because I was a fan of the previous things, but it just doesn't live up to what was the pinnacle in that.
The essence of what it is.
In that being the first installment of that series.
I agree. I think, actually, now that I think about it, I think some of our earliest podcasts were some of the like most pure essence of what this whole thing's about.
Yeah.
And I think as you keep going, you sometimes lose track of what your North Star is.
100%.
And, maybe like we were literally talking about it off the podcast. There was a time when I think it was our Christmas episode where I was literally arguing the polar opposite thing. Like I was saying, because I remember it's about like where your head like space is at the current moment, right? Yeah. So what these podcasts kind of are, they're sort of just like a little timestamp of where you are. The ones that are host ones, not the interviews really, but like for that person who comes on, yes. But so like that pod, I'm talking about like we need to make money. If you're doing this and you're not making money, you're a loser. Like polar opposite, like commerciality number one, like make money or you're a fucking failure. Yeah. Because that's where I was at that moment. I was thinking like, dude, I love this so much. And for us to not make money, it just pisses me the fuck off. Yeah. And I don't want to be like one of those guys in his basement, doing art and shit and just being like looked down upon, saying, fuck you, you do nothing, you're a piece of shit, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, and just be looked down upon.
Do you find that you said that who you were when that episode dropped, you have a different perspective, and you would say you're a different person to who you are now. Do you guys often look back on yourselves as people and just appreciate the personal growth you've had? And is that something you guys exercise? Is it something you guys put thought and effort into? Or do you find it something that just kind of comes as you go along with this tricky journey that we like to call life? Because I find myself, I think it's really important to look back on what was and what is now. A perfect example is I mentioned it earlier in the episode was I don't think if I had the levels of success I'm having now when I was younger, 16, 17, I don't think I would have handled it and taken advantage of it and made the best of it compared to how I'm able to now that I'm older, now that I'm wiser. And are you guys, I guess what my real question was here was, are you guys big into the personal growth stuff, and do you do things to work on that in a day in and day out type basis? Is that something you guys are into?
I can go on this a little bit and then we can kind of go around, I think. Just to
I'd love for that.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I think for me at one point, I was very into self-development, like in high school. Like I always wanted to like just be like the best version of myself. Reading like books I like shouldn't be reading. Like I'm reading like, you know, crazy like self-improvement books. Like
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich. Like I saw that on your story. I was
It's a
like, I
great
read
book,
that
man.
like in
It's a
fucking
great
grade 11.
book.
I read like How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, like, you know, what else? Like
You ever
Shoe
read
Dog, all these fucking
You ever
books.
read
man.
Rich Dad Poor Dad?
I was gonna read that one. That's on
No?
my list of
That's
things.
something you guys need to get on.
Yeah, so that's all that shit. But like I remember I was like in that world and like
Yeah.
wanting to read a new book and wanting to like learn this new thing.
yeah,
and-
man.
But like I think at that point in life, I didn't know what I wanted to do and I didn't have this, what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I think this has been like a blessing because it's given me direction. I think a lot of people
Time and a place, brother.
Yeah,
Time
a
and a
lot of
place.
people just like improve, but for what? Like I think
Yeah.
there has to be like something that you're improving.
Like, what are you working
For,
towards?
yeah,
what are you
you know?
striving to be? What are you like? It's great that you're improving, but what are you going to use with these tools that you now have in your
Yes,
toolbox?
because you can have a lot of tools, but they could just be in the toolbox and you're not actually taking them out and building a fucking bridge or building
Yeah.
a table. And like now I feel like this has given us an opportunity to build that and build that world. And I don't know about you guys, like we're like, do you look back and be like, you know, I was doing something right, but like it just wasn't like clicking, you know, as much
Jules,
as it
I
should
want
have
to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah,
chime
no.
in here.
Nick mentioned also like before the pod, like you should probably take down all those Wave Wednesday videos.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
I've been doing like the social media stuff, not fully consistently, but I was doing it during like the whole
What is
COVID years
Wave
and stuff
Wednesday?
too. So basically like I used to call my thing the D2 wave, the two Leo D2
Yeah,
wave.
D2.
Like it's a wave of people. Like that was kind of my name for my
It's a D2
subscribers,
wave.
The
whatever.
name of your cult you were trying to build? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I made a song too about it. It's called the D2 Wave. But no, yeah, and just looking back at like those old videos, and just actually this weekend, me and Druga were looking back at like our first couple pods, and like that's dope. Is like seeing the improvements. Like I'm not fully there, like looking at like okay, like I used to be like this. Like I'm not too in tune with it fully, but yeah, no, you see the differences for sure. And also like what I was maybe like 16 making those videos. So obviously now being 19, it's still like young, you know, you guys are like 22, whatever, 23. So I'm still learning every day about this stuff and, you know, maturing in a way too. So, but yeah, no, looking back at those old videos, I was more consistent, but you can tell the quality and stuff wasn't there. Like now we're still kind of sort of being consistent with it, but we're making sure there's some sort of thing behind it, some sort of quality and purpose behind our videos and not just like posting things to post it. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Well, I definitely think to that topic, as far as just posting to posting, whereas having intentions behind actions, I think that's the most powerful feeling. Like when you, and I'll speak from personal experience, when you sit down and you write down on a goal board, like, listen, this is what I'm going to achieve, and you really believe it, and you put action into those thoughts and you make things work for yourself, and when you start to see yourself achieving the things that you had written down that you once thought were impossible, no one can take that away from you. No level of hate that you receive from the outside, whether it be people telling you you're wrong, people online, when you have that instilled belief in yourself, that is such a strong and powerful feeling, and that feeling snowballs into, ultimately, you see these big creators achieving the levels of success they're having. It's because they set out these tiny milestones that when they set it out, it's like, oh, this is going to be a little bit of a tall mountain to climb. They climb that mountain and they realize, oh, the peak wasn't that bad. It's not that high. Let's push it. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. And then you don't even realize it, but as you continue to push yourself, you reach so many peaks, you achieve so many goals that once you finally summit to a spot where you can look down and say, holy shit, like I've actually done a substantial amount of work. Like I've built up a body of work that has come along throughout a process that's taken years and years, but you needed to go through those tiny peaks that might not have been the biggest at some points, you know, to get to the end goal. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people make in not only self-development, but when they get started in something like content or when they start a business, is that they want to put themselves in the same conversations as the Nikes, as the Mr. Beasts. Whether you're making music, you want to be Drake, you want to be Kanye, but people don't understand those guys all started at day one. Also, when they first started, they didn't have what they have today. What they have today is because they just worked and they worked and they worked and they showed up and they never took no for an answer and they just wanted it. Like that example I mentioned earlier, 800,000 podcasts. You talking shit about me again?
No, I just said you just gotta want it.
Yeah, you just gotta want it, man. Like as corny.
I can't tell what you're saying when you look at me. You're too close.
You got the headphones.
As corny as that is, bro, it's like 800,000 podcasts. All of those 800,000 only have one episode because they're expecting from that one episode to have this, this, and this. And as soon as they put that one episode out and it's not like what they're used to seeing, it all breaks down. But again, to get to that point, to what they're used to seeing, to that content they're used to consuming from these big creators, those creators had to go through trial and error. They had to fail and fail. They had to fail 5 times and then succeed once and then fail another 5 times and then succeed once. And I think that's why the 1% is the 1%, because there's 1% of people that are willing to do it. There's 1% of people that are crazy enough and ambitious enough and passionate enough to go through that. And as you go through that and as you reap the rewards of your labor, it's a feeling that no one can take away from you. And you have such a strong personal belief in yourself that whatever it is you put your mind to, you're going to achieve. And I'm sure you guys have plenty of examples that you've lived through that can relate to that exact same thing.
Yeah. And I think without doing those videos and that practice of just putting stuff out and doing it, we wouldn't be here right now sitting on a podcast with you and stuff like that, right? It all kind of evolves from just starting it on your own, like just trying it out. Okay, then you're getting a little better at it, slowly growing, and then now it's here. And then in 2-3 years, a year from now, we can look back at this pod and be like, we've made mistakes, but now we're doing it better.
I guarantee you, if we look back on this thing in 2-3 years, we're gonna think, man, this was fucking shit. Like this sucked. Just because the level we're gonna be at when that time comes. Like I'm sure you guys look back at your stuff and it's like, man, like this sucked, but like fuck, you have to go through that to get to where you are today. There's no shortcuts to success. And that's another thing. Like I have a problem with people who think there's shortcuts. There's no get rich quick. There's no you do this and you get that without having to put X amount into it. You get what you put in.
Yep.
And if you put in the what's the word? The intonation? No, the what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, if you put in the intention of looking for a shortcut, you're gonna get those results back. You're gonna get a shortcut result.
You get what you give, man.
Yeah, and I think for some reason people have such a hard time wrapping their head around that, which to me is bonkers. Like, really, why don't you just put in the work and get a chance to appreciate what is the journey? Because like that's the thing. Like I had put on my goal board, get verified on Instagram, hit this amount of followers, achieve this, achieve that. And like once you achieve those things, it's not like this big culminating moment where like God comes out of the sky and you get this big confetti shooting out of your phone. It's like, oh, okay, cool, I did it. But it was the journey to get there that I think was one of the coolest things. And now that I'm able to live through it, it's like, yeah, people that are super successful are so right when they say it's always the journey. It's never the destination. Because when you get there, you get there. It's the fun you have along the way of getting there, which is what you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
You have to detach, man. You have to detach from that. Like you can't make that your whole thing. Like,
no.
Because I find, at least with me, like every time the pizza's
For
here.
the record, we did order a pizza.
Pizza's here.
It's here. Maybe
So
get a
glad it's here.
delivery man on the pod. Oh fuck! But now Tilty might run outside, but hopefully he can.
Anyways, I think when I like have a goal of like doing something, I get too caught up in the whole commerciality thing, and I lose sight of what I'm actually here for and what my purpose is. Like I feel like going back to that place I was at in that Christmas episode that we did. Everything was about money, making money, and all that. And I felt like we had the least amount at that time. Or at least we were doing like really, like in my opinion, not doing where I think we should have been. And then that kind of like deters the whole thing that we're doing. Like it's like appreciate what we're doing right now. Like we're making awesome videos. We're pushing the envelope. We're fucking growing as people. That should be the reason you're doing it, not just make that money.
I find it's easy to get lost when you're only focused on what is the end goal, what is the destination. I think it's a lot easier to go through it when you're taking it a day at a time, a video at a time, an idea at a time, because you see the improvements through it. Like I'll relate this back to our Unmastered Hockey series, which if you haven't watched already, go watch it, because it is just tremendous. It's like if you guys are into football, this is like the Hard Knocks of summer beer league hockey. All right, so tune into it. And I'm sure you guys can look back on the first video we did compared to the last few videos we did, and I guarantee you're going to see that the latest videos are so like, I think each video we put out is the best one, just because we keep on getting better at our process, at our method, at the creative process, how we do things, how we figured out ways to be more efficient, who's going to go on the mic, where is Gianluca going to stand to record, you know, and I think you don't figure these things out without going out there, doing it, burning yourself, learning, and say, okay, we're going to approach this from a different angle. We're going to do this differently. We're going to do this better.
It's sort of like what Julien was saying with the Wave Wednesdays thing, right? Like he made like almost hundreds of videos, like
over 100.
Over 100 videos.
That's crazy.
Like over 100. That's crazy. Just pretty much for nothing. Yeah. Like just, but really,
it's never for nothing.
No, but like for nothing in like a value, like a results kind of way of saying it. Yeah, but like really, what you gained is okay, what not to do. I keep saying that.
And
to
I guess
people.
the technique of learning how to
edit
videos.
Yes,
and
like what not to do and what to do more of. Is a big.
You know
thing.
what we need to do right now? We need to get this pizza up here.
All right, where's that pizza?
Nicholas,
you can bring it up. You can bring
it up.
Do we ever?
Bring that up.
Oh, we don't need that.
Well, just grab a plate for yourself, big dog. We're going to be eating out of the box.
I don't know. I heard Rick Rubin say something that literally like good art is just a lot of editing, because it's like you're not yes, you just keep editing, you keep editing, you keep going, you keep honing it until it's literally like a stone. You keep chiseling and it's a beautiful sculpture. Yeah. But if you stop chiseling at a certain amount, it's like, what the fuck is this like weird morph of a stone?
You got to see it through, my boy.
You got to see it fully through. Do it the way that it's
and sometimes it takes years.
Yeah, sometimes it takes years. You think those sculptures
not built in a day?
Yeah, those sculptures were not built overnight. Like that's a fucking crazy analogy in my opinion, because it's like those people like. Think about how much meticulous effort it takes to make one of those sculptures smooth like that. You know, you know the David guy's dick. Like it's so
what?
Okay,
is that the one thing you're honing in on?
No, it's like I just wanted to make it a little bit funny. Because like he had to like do like the balls.
I mean,
and shit.
it is pretty perfect. But
that guy's got a wicked stone.
I was like,
hog on
getting
him.
like so like you know like philosophical, and then like
ladies and gentlemen, this is our pizza guy Nick for the day.
Why don't you bring it on this side here?
He's bringing in the good stuff.
Wait, but come back this way
too, though.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you realize, but we're sitting on this side of the table.
We're here, Nick. We're here, Nick. Oh, he's covering the camera too.
Yeah, we're sitting on this side of the table. We got the dog going here.
We got the dog.
We'll cut it out.
Oh, there's wings too.
I don't know, man. On the pod.
On the pod. On the pod. Yes.
Yeah, leave those there. For now, we'll have this.
Guys, I think we get a live pizza review here. I'm gonna give you guys a wicked review here. Do I go corner slice? I think I gotta go corner.
You want a corner or a side?
Good review, baby.
I want a good corner.
All right, Pizza
slice.
Nova.
So we got Pizza Nova. Bear in mind it is 11:30. Jesus, time flies when you're having fun. We got a little. What is this? We got some pep. We got some green pepper. Yeah. Not a bad slice of pie. Not a bad looking pie either. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. Shout out Mr. Page Views.
Yep.
ASMR here. I don't want to get pizza on your microphone. Whoops. We're not cutting this. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think Pizza Nova is the king of like fast pizza.
Yeah.
What do you guys? I think it's undeniable.
I agree. A lot of people don't, but
I think that's a ridiculous take. Pizza Nova, I've been... Oh, no, this guy's dropping...
It's definitely the most European style,
too. He's dropping toppings on him. Yeah, figure it out, big guy. I most definitely would love a Pizza Nova sponsorship. I've been on the Pizza Nova train for a while. If you look at my food reviews, story highlights, a lot of it is just me reviewing Nova slices. I'm Team Nova slices. That's why I recommended we get Nova.
There you go.
I forgot we got a review. How are you guys feeling though so far about this pizza? Because I got to chew it up a little bit.
It's good.
It's always good. It never disappoints.
Yep.
Did we get dipping sauce?
Yeah, but yeah, why don't you go?
Thanks. Fumbling the bag here, man. Come on now.
Got the wings down there. I know you want to have the food too. Don't worry.
I got to give this for fast pizza, 11:30 at night. (7.3)
Okay.
7.3, and that's a strong 7.3.
Who picked solely green peppers on the whole thing?
Me.
What was it? What was the thought process behind that?
Yeah,
What else would it be?
could do other things.
Olives.
Yeah, but like how many fucking toppings you want me to get?
I'm a big sliced tomato kind of guy.
No, I've never gotten that.
You gotta
You gotta get the super
There's
sata.
already
man.
tomato already on it.
I gotta get the one.
Super sata.
I'm not Italian.
Yeah,
What does
so
that
you
mean?
didn't know. Maybe
it's
you
good
don't know
shit.
if he's into it.
Also, what else? Mushrooms, bacon. That's a classic.
Yeah, that is one.
I don't know
Come
how I
on,
feel
say
about
it.
the mushroom though. I'll be honest with you.
Nick, maybe pull up
Yeah,
the
that's why I didn't do
guy.
it.
if you want. So you can at least.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that, buddy.
Only a couple, eh?
We're gonna have to.
We got two.
How much money you want to spend?
I want you to drop a bag. That's what I want.
It was like that night we spent like $100 on pizza.
Get that hot oil. Put that hot oil on there.
Let's make things happen here,
Jane,
Jane.
get that hot oil.
Hey,
going.
wait, man.
Oh, he's gonna cross. He's crossing camera,
I told him
guys.
to go there, Joe.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna pause this podcast.
Let's pause it, man.
and we'll be back once this
let's
pizza
pause
is
it.
devoured. Guys, we needed that pizza big time.
Yeah, I was hungry, man.
We
Great
needed
stuff.
a.
I think sometimes the blood sugar gets low and then you kind of be like, fuck.
You know, when the
That's always-
podcast gets into the championship
guess.
rounds,
Yeah.
you need
The
you
champion.
need a good coach in your
This is our
corner.
longest
We're in
one.
overtime right now.
This is our longest podcast
Yeah.
ever, I think.
And I think the Pizza Nova is what got us through
Unless
that.
everything
last
gets
time.
cut out, but
Yeah,
it
well-
won't. It won't.
Well, in which case this would be all in vain. I really hope not.
Yeah, no, it won't.
You'll be sad.
But guys, this was fun.
It's not the last one you're coming on. Don't worry. Don't
Dude,
worry.
I think like you might have to
I
become
think
a
the people
co-host
will-
or something.
The people are gonna
Fuck.
want you on more.
If we have,
Really?
I
You
think
think
if we have a
so?
lot more hockey
definitely
guests and
will
stuff,
want you.
Guys, do you think Eric should be a part-time
Let
co-host?
me know, guys.
Come on every once in a while and
'Cause
talk
I mean,
about
as much
life?
as I'm known for the hockey stuff, I think I got a lot more to me than just hockey. You know.
Yeah, you're talking
yeah.
pretty good stuff today, man.
And he said he
It was
potentially
awesome.
wants to start his own pod. So
So stay tuned for that,
The
potentially.
Erik Nagy podcast, powered by Unmastered. Whoa! Who said that? I did.
we need the soundboard.
I know.
Yeah,
it
no, we
was
That's
gotta
the
do
next
that.
upgrade.
We do it like all through the mouth here.
Yeah.
Well, we got the producer here, so let's. Can you?
I should
Are you?
probably
Are
get
you
that
a
going.
big like? Do you do like a lot of like? You know how you guys, those guys beatbox with their mouths. Do you ever find yourself like improvising a noise for your music?
Oh, that's how they get started, dude.
Really? By like.
No, not like that. Like
Oh.
I'll sing something. I'll be like, "Diddly-dum-dum-dum-dum."
Are you making like bluegrass music in the
Yeah,
studio? Is that what's
My
going on?
favorite's boots and cats and boots and cats.
No, it'll be like.
Why is your favorite?
Okay. There you have it.
Oh my god, that was embarrassing, guys.
That
I'm
is-
sorry.
That's like a
No, but it's true though. Like that's
Book
how I
him.
do the films too.
Book them for studios.
I like talk to myself like I'm in a scene, and that's what I do.
think
Okay,
It's
but
like
I
schizophrenia or
think
something.
talking to yourself in a scene is a little bit different than.
Like, you
Yeah.
motherfucker, fuck you.
fucking
Well, yeah, because you gotta psych yourself
That's
up.
gotta
You
do
know,
it.
you gotta
That's
you
like
gotta get in
Heisenberg.
character. You gotta get the blood pressure up. You
No,
gotta,
but that's how you make like the beats. So if you're making beats, you got to go like you got to say it almost out loud.
Can
and
you
kinda get the-
describe
gotta feel
honestly? Like I'm really curious about this because I have a certain creative process. I want to hear what your guys' each individual creative process is like. Let's start from Mr. GTD Films over there. I want to see
Hey, how
what
are
this
ya?
guy's Hey, how are you? The ladies back home. You want a film guy? This guy's
I
good
can
at
film lots
zooming
of
in and
things
out
for
of the
you.
lens.
Free photo shoots, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
preferably
Hit me
nude.
Okay, so my process from like start to end.
Yeah, like
Is
just
unmastered,
like
unmastered,
what's your
unmastered.
what's your creative process when you're getting into something, when you're in it, when
Think
you're
about it. A couple years ago.
post production, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Let's
so
delve
I
into
mean,
it.
everything starts from the mind, of course. When I'm trying to think of something, like I'm a big guy. Like I like to think of like usually when I start like a film, for example, I think of usually it comes from like one scene.
Right.
Like I think of a scene like this would be cool. This would be a cool scene.
Would you say you get a lot of inspiration from some of your favorite scenes as far as like putting together a shot? Like you see like a shot in your scene, in your favorite scene, you're like, okay, I want to try and replicate this.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
That's definitely a thing. Like there was like my film that I made, like the lamp.
Right.
That one, so obviously it was based off an object and I wanted to make a horror film, but like there's certain things like I have the ending shot is a door opening and there's like the red glow behind it. And that was like me trying to like replicate like the shot from Close Encounters, if you know that shot, where the kid opens the door and there's like the aliens outside, all this light coming through. So like that's like something like that. That was an influence for that shot. Obviously the whole film doesn't relate to it at all. But you put little things like that you get influence from. So like shit like that happens. You know, maybe I'll see something like in the real world too. Influence and like, oh yeah, imagine if the shot was like this. And that's how things get started, right? Things like that.
It's funny that you take inspiration from your favorite scenes.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I most definitely agree. I think a lot of the things that we see are just people getting an idea from somewhere else, whether it be their favorite shot, whatever they saw earlier that day, and them kind of putting their own spin on it.
Yeah.
You know, I find very rarely do people come up with something brand new themselves. You know, like there's only been one invention for a wheel. Like no one's reinvented the light bulb. People have done chandeliers, they've done different versions of chandeliers, but they haven't reinvented anything, you know. So I think a lot of the stuff we see nowadays is just derived from, as much as you put your own spin on it, I think what's really cool is it's kind of like a domino effect. You see something that gives you inspiration, but realistically that scene probably was inspired, like that director saw something and put his own spin on it, and that thus inspired you to do, sorry, that's the wings and pizza, your own scene in turn. And how many films have you made? I haven't done too much research on you, Mr.
Oh my God.
Blue.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're gonna. They're short films, obviously. Haven't made full feature yet, but I don't know. I've made so many since like what, 15 years old.
That's awesome.
Is that when I started? Fucking 15 to 13, something like that. You go through my hard drive, it's full of like 20 plus.
What got you into it?
Probably. Well, first I wanted to be an actor,
Really?
so I always wanted to do that. Very young, just watching movies, love movies.
You got the voice for it, I'll be honest.
Then I started.
I wanted to be an actor,
people,
you know.
Then I started making my own
movies.
things so I could be in them. So then that's why.
So you were
Then I fell in love with actually making them.
You were the cast, you were the director,
I was the
you were
cast,
the
I was everything.
producer.
I was like, who else am I?
Right
How am I
on.
going to star in a film?
I was
gotta
the
make it.
actor.
And he was an actor too.
And
like,
how,
get in
and
this,
how
you
far
know.
has your acting career gone?
Brutal. Nowhere.
Brutal,
didn't get
hey?
there.
Just
He didn't have it in him.
I think Nick's got to be a little worse than me though.
Oh, I acted in one of his films.
Oh yeah, he
Becoming.
did. I made him a main
Really?
character in a high school film.
I'd love to act in one of your
Becoming.
in one of your.
Well, we might have to
When
make
you
it
Should have
have
an
happen.
Oscar for that one.
If you guys want to see me act in
you wanna see him act in a film.
Gianluca Di Tullio short movie,
That'd be good.
like the
I would
video,
like that.
like
I
the
would-
video.
I would
Let's get some
watch that.
comments going. Let's get a comment train going.
Well, I do
If
want.
they made it this far,
Yeah,
it's
if you made it this
3
far.
hours slog.
Yeah, you know they're making it this
It's not
far.
a slog, but you know what I'm saying.
All the ladies on his Insta, they're gonna want to see this. So
Yeah, you know what's
They're
funny is
watching the whole
that
thing.
there have been a few actresses who have actually like followed me, have liked my videos,
there you go.
slid into the
There you go.
DMs. So it's fun. So if we need a
Acting
couple,
partner. If
we need a couple dumb blondes that are good at acting like dumb blondes. Not saying you ladies are dumb blondes. You're very
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
blondes. I can pull some strings for us. Let's bring it over to Mr. Nick Petrangaro here. Now, obviously,
It kind of feels like the hockey interviews a little bit.
yes, is this what we're doing? I mean,
That's
it's
just
just
your
kind of
authentic self.
Yeah.
it just kind of happened. There's
No, I
control
just had
over
to
it.
notice it. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Obviously, GTD, he does films.
GDT.
GDT.
I don't know why I said
GDT films.
GTD.
GTD.
It's confusing.
HGTV.
HDMI.
data clip.
Yeah, I know, right? Obviously, you're into more of the music,
Right.
more of the producing. Take us through your creative process. Let's say I walk into the studio yo, man, I have this song, or let's say,
AKA my room.
or your room, sure. I mean, how many? You have a lot of ladies that want to produce music with you.
Shit, shout out to them ladies who like making beats. Yeah, which is none. Maybe there's a few actually. There's a few. Shout out to them.
There's
What kind of
definitely-
beats you
there's
talking
definitely-
about?
Yeah, we talking like what? Like, are we gonna have
kind
like
of
the
beats?
like, you know how Drake had that like Bed Creek in that one house album?
Those are the kinds you're talking about.
Yeah, he's making
Use
those
that.
kind of beats.
Yeah,
eh? So
yeah,
just
yeah.
so take us through your creative process, how you come up with a beat. How does that all start? Because obviously sounds and engineering sound is a lot different than projecting something through a camera lens.
You know what? I honestly think it's similar to how you would see, like, let's say a movie scene that you really like, and you're like, I like that. I want to be able to do that, put my own spin on it, but you do it musically. You know, like, I think you take different parts of things you like and you put them together to make one new instrumental, new composition.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, the new Travis Scott album just came out. I'm really liking like the drums, how they're like so crunchy and like boom, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I like want to make something that has those kind of drums now. And he even did that himself. If you go look at how he kind of interpolated, you know, songs on Yeezus, right? So like the biggest guys are doing that. They're taking something they like and they're putting their own spin on it, whether it be the drums, whether it be the music, where it gets a little bit tricky there because then you got to watch out for legalities, right? Like you can't be like, hey, you're using that drum sound and that drum break and be like, that's a copy unless it's a sample, right?
Yeah.
Like, of course you got to clear it and all that, but like
If something's a
patterns,
sample,
you can't,
do you have to
can't
like
claim.
declare it's a sample?
Well, yeah, if it's a
How does
sample,
that
if it's
work?
someone else's like composition or someone else's drum break and you're using it, if it's not royalty free, yeah, you have to claim that.
Okay.
Or you have to
I
pay
had
for
no
that,
idea.
right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing that's interesting is you can't claim like a pattern. So like if I went like this, like boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, boom, like, you know what I mean? Like anyone could do that, but it's like, what are those sounds you're using for that boom, boom, boom? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my job is to have, so I have that idea or that kind of pattern that I really like. Now I got to find the sounds that go with it, AKA the ingredients.
You're right.
And I always say that making music and making beats especially is really similar to like cooking. And I've used this analogy before, you know, you got to have the right ingredients. You don't want to put too much of one ingredient. Like you don't want to put too much salt, AKA too much base. You don't want to put too much high end, like, you know what I mean? Like where it could be like too tinny or too like sharp on your ears. That could be
Right.
like burning something.
Right.
You know what I mean? I really look at it like cooking. So my idea is I want to cook a filet mignon steak, AKA a crazy ass beat. And then how do I do that and make it so that it's like perfect? You know what I mean? And another day it's like, I want to cook lobster bisque, but how do I do that?
Right.
And you know what I mean? With making sure that it has the properties that offer that thing, but doesn't rip off, let's say, Gordon Ramsay or something. Cause you know what I mean? There's going to be like, I don't want to make an exact replica of Travis Scott's song on Utopia. I want to make Nick Petrigaro's version of that where I like that 5% thing that was going on in that song. And then I'm going to take something from another artist that I liked. I'm going to put that in there. And then maybe it's like I'm taking something from Tyler, the Creator, or I'm taking something from Tiesto, or I'm taking something from Ed Sheeran. And I'm putting those things all together to make something that's original.
So those different artists would be your quote unquote ingredients.
Artists or like ideas, because those artists probably got inspired by another artist. So like, for example, like I just said, Travis Scott using a drum break that was similar to the one on Black Skinhead by Kanye on Circus Maximus, the new song, right?
Yeah.
So like he knew that was an already existing thing, but he really liked that style, but he has a
Right.
totally different set of
Interpretation
sounds
of it.
on top
Yes.
of it. He put the
Yes.
Weeknd on it, put
Yes.
Sway Lee on it. He put a totally different chord progression on it. But
Right.
what's sick though is that he got that feeling that he really wanted to replicate, but then took it to another level. And so what I look at it like is like you're passing the baton.
Right.
So someone is going to try an idea and tinker with it and try to take it to a certain point, and then that person next in line is going to take that idea and add their thing to it, and someone's going to add their thing to it, and then it comes down to me, the newest generation, where I'm going to go and learn from all those things and try to pass that baton on, and so on.
Talk about passing the baton. Do you think that's why we've seen, obviously, when rap started, 80s, 90s, it was Biggie, it was Tupac, it was NWE. That was more rap. Do you think because of the passing of the baton from the last 20, 30 years is how we've gotten to Playboy Cardi mumbling over songs is just by that passing?
That's exactly what
of the
is.
baton.
Yeah, without Tupac, there's no Playboy Cardi. Because you know what I mean? You know, then there wouldn't have, so without Tupac, there wouldn't have been like a Drake, because he was sort of a little bit more emotional. And then without Drake, you know, then there wouldn't have been like, you know, someone else like you know, Pierre Bourne or something. You know what I mean? Like there's different artists that like they get influence from each other. Like without Drake or without like The Weeknd, there wouldn't be so many people.
Without Michael Jackson, there's no Weeknd.
Yes, without Michael Jackson, there's no Weeknd. But the thing that Michael Jackson does sick is that he doesn't do the production the same way as Michael Jackson. So they have a very similar tone of voice, but he goes for a darker aesthetic with the production, which takes it to a new height. Now maybe someone's gonna go even crazier, but keep that same voice, or do The Weeknd's current production with a new voice, and that's where it gets crazy.
Now, who would you say is your artist, or producer? Who is a producer, artist, sound beat maker, whatever you want to call them, that you draw the most inspiration from?
I think it honestly depends on the day, or like it depends on the month.
So you don't have one that you like more lenient
I would
towards?
say,
Is there not one
honestly,
you favor, like 55 to 45?
What do you mean, like 55 to 45%?
Yeah.
Like, I would say like Kevin Parker of Tame Impala. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
just I like approach my music in
expecting
a
that.
similar way, because he's in his room and he's doing it all himself. He's doing the chords by himself. He's doing the drums by himself. He's doing all this stuff, which is a lot of work. And it's something that someone who has a vision can only do, you know? And like, I think I look to him and I think that's where I want to be, because he's not only putting like the drum pattern in, like, you know, like with technology, he's actually playing the drums. He's actually playing the bass. He's actually, you know what I mean, doing the chords and stuff. So like right now, like I like those sounds, and I try to be like, I try to feel like a human type of beat where it's like it's played, but it's like I'm penciling it in. That's like a term that producers use, where it's like, you know, you can use your mouse and you would off put a note, or you'd off put a drum so it sounds a little bit more like it's played by a human and not just like computerized.
Yeah, I see that a lot, is that I'll see producers who are extremely talented at their craft. They can't necessarily, you know, play the drums like how they produce it on a beat. And I always thought that maybe it would be good to have that sense of like being able to play the real instrument. But I figured like if you're just always doing it on whatever you use to produce, I don't know what the applications
Logic
are called.
whatever,
Sure. You just eventually get such a good feel for it to a point where there isn't really a need. And I feel like to the point you could pick up that sound in real life just because you replicated it so many times through your software.
Yeah, you get to a point where right now I'm way, 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 way happier with how my stuff is sounding than where it was 5 years ago. Or like not 5, I haven't been making music for 5 years, 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know,
well, that's just how that works.
That's how it works. But I have that vision where I want it to feel like it's a real band or a real thing going on, but then have those elements that I love from the really synthetic stuff. Like I love EDM. Like I love rock music. I love EDM, and I love trap music. So how do I find ways to benefit from all those sounds?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without being like too much of one thing.
I also find it's important, especially in the music field. Now, I don't know a lot about music, but as we were talking off the pod, it's important to have an ear for good sound. And I think part of that comes with you're not bound to only one specific genre of music. I think if you pick up good sounds with your ears, you can find good music, and whether it be rap, soul, 70s music, R&B, even some Japanese jazz, you know, just rock and roll. I think as long as you have that ear, doesn't really matter what the sound is, because if it's good, it's good.
Yes.
You know, and I think for you, especially as a producer, it's really important for you to have that open mind and that open perspective and the willingness to like understand, like, hey, if it's good, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's good, it's good.
It's good.
You know,
I was saying to you off the pod, like, you said you dabbled, you tried to make music at some point, tried to make beats.
I didn't get to. I mean,
like
you
just like had the
I had the standard like presets on GarageBand, and what I would do is like I would click one noise and I would click another one, and then I would have those two playing until I found the third one that worked, and then
that's how it works.
And then it was trial and error. But I always found that like at the end of it, I was like, holy shit, this is like kind of fucking good.
But you know why? Because literally 80% of it is just having that like taste. Yeah, and that ability to know this sucks and this doesn't suck. Yeah, this is really shitty sounding. Like DJ Khaled says, is like, these are cheap sounds. This is shit sounds. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think that guy knows his shit? You're wrong, man. He must know his shit, because he's consistently putting out good music, because he's able to discern what sample he should use, what artist. Because DJ Khaled's another level. People think, what the hell does DJ Khaled do? Like, he has no talent. No, he has a ton of talent. DJ Khaled knows how to put what beats with what artists and figure that out. That's not an easy thing. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like he also has the ability to get in contact with those people, which is not easy either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he figured out that Rihanna and Bryson Tiller would sound good over Maria Maria by Carlos Santana. Right. Not everyone's able to know that would be a hit, you know? Like, that's why that's a hit. Like, there's no one else who did it before him. So he's a genius in that sense.
Absolutely. Man. It takes a special person to not only identify, but the execution of that too. Because it's one thing for it to sound good in your head, and it's a completely different thing. And I'm sure all of us as creatives have gone through this. You have a really good idea in your head. As soon as you put it on paper, it's like bleh. Yeah. You know, so like it's difficult to have that execution where it comes out exactly, if not better than how you had it planned out in your head. Let's move it over to Mr. D2 here. You know, we're talking about creative processes. We're talking about, you know, the art of creating, the creative directing of the shits. Yeah. Talk us through how you come up with your ideas, with your content,
the things you do. The thing is for this, for me, is that I don't really do anything really outside of the podcast. So, like,
just talk us through your approach as far as your podcast and how you approach things on, you know, in your day-to-day life on a day-to-day basis.
You know, we're obviously trying to always find new guests to come on this pod, so it always just comes from communicating with them and being like, who do we think we want next, this and that, who should we send a DM out to, this stuff like that, right? And obviously when we find a guest, Nick's very good with, like, you know, finding a date and a time for that pod, making sure we get that set up. And then I kind of do most of the research, I'd say, like, kind of the guests, like with questions, and I write all the intros to the guests, like the one I wrote for you. Like, I've done most of them for basically all of our guests.
Fuck up, by the way.
So I make sure to do my research about that, like get the followers right and all that. But yeah, just that's kind of my preparation. I'm learning a bit more about the editing. Like, I've been doing some clips for Gianluca, and like the hockey videos, I kind of do the on ice segments of them, cutting them up, make sure to just put all the funny parts together. But yeah, I'd say also, but back when I used to do those YouTube videos, like consistently, like I was saying before, I was just doing it to do it. Like, there wasn't really much thought behind it, and that's maybe why it didn't last and why it kind of burned out, was because I was just looking at people like FaZe Rug and like, oh, guess the cheeseburger challenge. Is it from McDonald's, Burger King? I just exactly replicate that video, but do it for me. There was no twist to do it. What twist to it? Like, I drew in the little twist to that video, right? Like, even I was big into like Dude Perfect and like playing sports, so I just do like a regular 3-point challenge. Like, I wouldn't add like a 3-point challenge, but something else creative that makes it my own way, right?
So let me ask you a question. If you had to put your own spin on it, how would you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, for the way
like what would make a video a Julien Di Tullio video? What would set that apart? What's the approach? What's the thinking? What's the ideology?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really have an answer for that. But when I used to do those Wave Wednesdays, though, I did have an aspect where I'd have like someone come on the channel and say something motivational. So I'd call it like motivational Mondays, where like I'd get like another influencer or someone doing something, an artist, and be like, yo, come on my channel for a minute of the video, just speak something motivational and hopefully it inspire someone watching my videos, right? So it'd be like an entertainment aspect. Then in a minute of like the end, it'd be like a guy saying something inspiring for people watching, like that maybe want to make YouTube videos or want to make music and stuff like that. So that was kind of my thing with it, but I think I could do a better job of being a little more creative with like my content and stuff like that for sure.
Definitely, man.
Yeah,
It's gonna come as you go on, man. Like you're a young guy. Like you guys, like you're both the same age, right? 19.
You're what? You're what? 03?
04, yeah.
You're 03?
I'm 03. Yeah, he's always a year
Yeah, like
younger than I am.
I remember when I was your guys' age, like I did not know what I was gonna do. Like first year, second year university, like you're kind of like, what's going on? Or at least I was. And then I think the fact that you're doing this right now is like, oh, you're going on there. But hey, the fact you're giving it a go right now, whether it be the podcast, comedy, whatever, it's a starting point and you don't even know where you're going to end up. It's probably going to be something 10 times better than you ever imagined. Because this is 10 times better than I ever imagined.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah, like, dude, I was like, dude, I just was thinking right now, like, we're so lucky to be able to do this right now and like have all the stuff around us and the great people and the camera and the friends and the ability to talk about this. Like, it's so crazy to me, and I'm just like fucking grateful for that.
Yeah.
And like the fact that I'm able to say my opinion without like being like ridiculed or whatever, like fucking told to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like so many people don't get that opportunity.
Well, that's because
awesome.
I bite my tongue.
Hey, he's biting his tongue, so but whatever. Regardless, you know what I'm trying to say. Like it's an awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
But I would have never imagined I would be doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was gonna be working at like some sort of basic ass fucking job and like working my way up the corporate ladder. That's what I actually thought I was gonna do. Hey, I could still do that. I could still go that route. There's nothing stopping me. But the fact that like this is even a thing just changed my whole worldview.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, dude.
I have a hard time kind of putting myself in that method of thinking of like going to Tim Hortons and working like a 9 to 5 or just working like a basic job, just because even when I wasn't doing social media, I just knew that I was worth so much more than what my peers were doing. Not to put them down. It's just I felt like I was worth so much more than just making a nice coffee at Tim Hortons. You know, and because of that, I never really took on a job like that. Whereas nowadays I do goalie coaching for hockey, and I just feel like I'm so much better of an asset doing that than I am doing something else elsewhere. Not to mention pays a lot better than Tim Hortons,
Right.
You know, which obviously helps, but it's the idea that, and this is another thing I wanted to touch on was, so I think it's important too is to put yourself in an environment where you're valued. You know, I go back to the example of me in school, right? When I was in school, I felt like a bum. My grades weren't there. Everyone else's grades were there. It just wasn't my thing, you know? It's like, think about it. It's like a bottle of water, okay? You go to Costco, a bottle of water is what, 50 cents at those vending machines. You go to a gas station, a bottle of water is like $3. You go to a Leafs game, a bottle of water is $6. You go to an airplane, a bottle of water is like $10.
Crazy.
It's still the same bottle of water. It's just the environment that it's in.
Yeah.
And I think it's really difficult for people to really realize and put to effect their full potential when they're in an environment that's always telling them otherwise, which is why I think it's super important to build that environment for yourself, whether it be in your head, make your room like a safe space, anything of that sort, of that nature that can kind of give you that feeling that like you're worth $1 million. Because I think that's the most important thing. When you feel like that, anything is accomplishable. You know, there's nothing that you can do. And I think that's a big reason why I see a lot of people not pursuing what they love and often having doubts and worried about taking the risk is because of the environment they're in is telling them every single reason why they shouldn't. And the environment is also making them feel like they can't. Well, why don't you put yourself in an environment where you can and you are that thing and you're working towards that thing? Because if you want it bad enough, your subconscious is going to put you in positions to make those things happen. And I don't know if you guys can attest to this, but I'm sure there's been times where you've had, let's say, one idea or one thing and you proposed it to a certain group of people and you pitch that exact same idea to a different group of people.
And they think it's amazing and they think it's wrong. Yeah.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But if you pitched it to that first group of people, they think it's the worst fucking thing you've ever said in your life. You know, and were you going to say something? We're going to say
I'm just agreeing.
Yeah. And, you know, it's environment. I think that's super important and something that people don't really think about, because I have a lot of friends who would love to do so many things, except their parents are, hey, go to school, go do this, do that. And I get it, you know, social constructs in households, religions, certain beliefs. It's obviously a lot easier said than done. But I can't tell you how lucky I am to have parents that support what it is. Yeah. And it just makes it support what I want to do and my dreams. And it's so much easier to do it when you have that support. And it's not like, oh, like it's something I have to hide from them. Like I get excited when I write scripts. Like one of my biggest videos, actually, when the hockey kid calls you going for a walk, my mom helped me with that script.
Oh yeah.
Like I pitched the script to my mom, and then we made a few changes, and those changes ended up being focal points of the comment section in those videos. So
Mom's a
shout
secret
out to
producer.
Mom. I know you're watching this, Mom. I do love you. But if I wouldn't have gone to my mom, if my mom would have been, oh, your videos aren't going to go anywhere, they're not going to do anything, my videos wouldn't have had a profound effect on over 5 million people to this date. You know? So I just think that puts things into perspective a little bit.
Yeah, no, it definitely, you know, it's tough for the people who, like you're saying, like their parents don't, you know, because those are the people, like you're saying, that raised you and like supposed to love you and all that stuff. And then they're telling you like, this is all bullshit, whatever. Then it's like, that kind of hurts.
Well, I wouldn't say it's all bullshit. It's just that they want you to do a certain thing. They want you to be by the book, per se. Whereas when you're not a by the book person, it's where conflict tends to arise a little bit, right? That's where like, okay, hey, I'm trying to do A, you want me to do B, and there's not really a compromise at C.
That's putting like a round thing in a square hole or whatever, right? It doesn't fucking work. Or the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's,
That's such a
that
weird
was the stupidest
I-
thing. That was a Rickyism, you know.
a Ricky from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole, but I said
Yeah,
this
no, I get what you mean.
square thing in a round one.
Yeah.
I don't know the other way around. Round in a square.
Rickyism.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like that one.
Guys, I need to work on
Who's your favorite Trailer Park Boys character?
Ricky.
Ricky?
I want you.
Oh, actually, Randy Bobandy.
Randy.
Bobanneram.
I'm on the air.
Nah, Leahy
Is
was
it- is it
awesome.
Canadian
I'm
show?
on the air. Yeah, dude. It was
Yeah,
filmed in
in, like,
Nova Scotia.
That's like the guy with the glasses, right? That I've always seen that guy with
Bubbles.
a cigarette in his mouth, whatever. That's Bubbles.
That's
yeah.
Bubbles. That's Bubbles.
Yeah, that's all I know. Like about the show.
Hold on. What's like a good Bubbles line? Julien, these fucking cats, I gotta feed them. I can't feed the cats. Decent.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
there it is, guys.
I think we
Great
ended
show.
off on that.
Great
Yeah, I
show.
don't know, but it's
Hey, this was a decent Bob.
decent.
Any last words, Eric? You know, to someone out there watching, anything inspirational or just upcoming things you're going to be working on that people can look out for?
Yeah, definitely. Check out my socials, check out my accounts if that's something you're into. At Not Erik Nagy on TikTok and Instagram. I got some big stuff coming up in a little bit, which I'm going to be super excited to share with you guys. Whether that be with these guys, other creators. Also, if there are other creators out there that do want to work with me, please reach out. I'm always looking to work with other content creators, other people in the space. I think it's one of those things where you help me, we help each other.
Yeah.
Mano y mano, and the people just love to see other content creators working with one another. Want to give a big shout out to these guys for having me on the podcast.
Big shout out to you
for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks guys for having me on their 3-on-3 summer league team. Loads of fun. Yeah, and if there's anything people take away from this podcast, it's do what makes you happy. Do you know, find what is authentic to you, what is your true calling. Go out there, as Joey Diaz would say, grab it by the balls and just go do it, man. You know, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. All you got to do is take that first step. I love you all. I love you boys here.
Love you.
Episode 30.
Yeah.
We're out.
Yes, sir.
Sweaty.
Subscribe.
God, those hands.
That was sick. That was probably the best one we've done.
Yeah.
That was good.
It had so much shit. That's so much like different things we covered, man.
Oh, I forgot to split this one.
Yeah.
Whee!